Oh, I did the wrong kind of fade. Whoops. let me just go back. Anyway, hello. How is everybody doing on this Monday? It's been so long. It's been a week and a half. I miss you guys. I miss you guys But yeah, so I'm back. I'm still like a little sick, so if you guys hear me sniffling, that's just like being the tail end of being sick. And I may or may not have to keep muting myself to do some coughing, but for the most part, it's gone. But yes, I'm excited to finally finish this chapter of Higurashi. It's been a little bit overdue. And I don't know if we actually do have 3 hours left of this chapter. I feel like we do. But for all I know, we could just be like in the last little bit of the chapter, and it's just like, we were here for a few minutes. So if we end up ending early, we might do the random Ichio games a little bit early. Because either way, I'm gonna be doing them either today or tomorrow, but we will see. We'll see. Okay, let me go ahead and get it all there. Okay, cool. And now we can go over here and do the right transition this time. And then we'll continue. Okay. Yeah, I have some tea, I have water, and so I am prepared. Before I went to bed, I headed to the window to close the curtain. It's this scene. I saw the shadow of a person near the porch. Who could it be so late? Well, I didn't have to guess who it was. There was only one person I knew who might come to me so late. I opened the window and looked more carefully this time. I was right. It was Lena. She was just standing still under the light. I wondered how long she'd been there for. It didn't look like she was going to ring the doorbell. She was just standing there. She seemed to be asking herself whether to ring the doorbell or not. For how long had she been hesitating in front of my door? It looked like even standing was giving her a hard time. She looked very tired. I ran down the stairs, put my sandals on, and rushed out of the house. Rena looked surprised to see me, even though I came out after making a lot of noise. Rena? Is that you? Rena! She looked relieved to see me for a moment, but then she soon glanced downward and looked sad again. How long have you been standing here?
I don't know. Maybe since the sunset?
Rena must have been staying somewhere outside for the last 2 days at the very least. And it wasn't like she'd be camping for fun. She'd been in a state of high tension the whole time, believing that someone was trying to kill her. Rena looked utterly exhausted. She seemed to have taken care of the deep scratch she made on her neck the other day with some large band-aids. The band-aids had cute pictures, but that only made the wound on her neck look more painful. I saw some band-aids soaked with blood on her arms and body too, and I could tell she made them herself. She had more scars than she had last night. Anyway, let's go inside. You haven't eaten anything for 2 days, have you? When I tried to take her in the house, she refused with a vague expression on her face. It wasn't that she didn't want to go into the house. It was more like she had to refuse because she thought she didn't deserve it. Poor girl.
I can't take it anymore. Even at this moment, the maggots are moving through my body. It itches really badly, and it feels like they're about to come out from everywhere.
Rena, I think you have some kind of disease. Why don't you get some rest here, and we'll go to the clinic first thing in the morning. He understands your delicate situation, so he'll see you in private.
No. I know it. I know exactly how Tomitake-san died. I'm trying not to do what he did for as long as possible.
Rena believed she was given some kind of suspicious drug that made her claw at her neck to death, just like Tomitake-san did. She had convinced herself that it was going to happen. She wouldn't hear anything else right now, but she really wanted somebody to help her. She wanted help, but when someone tried to give her a hand, it looked like the hand of the devil. If this was some kind of disease, what a horribly depressing disease it was. Well, I don't know how I'm going to die, but I don't think I have much time. That's not going to happen. You're a member of our unbeatable club, Rena Ryugu. You're not going to die so easily.
Thanks. Well, I wanted to say sorry before I die.
Really? Or sorry, for what?
Yesterday, I said terrible things to you, and I hurt your feelings.
She must be talking about last night. She trusted me, but when Oishi-san told her about my past, she felt betrayed. And after that, everything I did out of goodwill seemed like the opposite to her. I know what it's like. I once felt the same way about you, Rena.
Well, before I moved here, I did many horrible things too. A lot, actually.
Really? I didn't know.
What I did is beyond comparison. You just shot someone with a toy gun. I hit somebody's head really hard with a metal baseball bat. Everybody got hurt really badly. And I also broke the windows in my school. And...
I know. But I don't care about any of that. You did that before you moved here. That's why you stopped being Reina Ryugu and became Rena after you moved here, right? To me, you're my best friend who's very kind, thoughtful, and fun. That's the most important thing. I don't care who you were before.
So, I was way worse than you were. I have no right to say you're not my friend.
I felt the same way too.
Huh?
I was afraid of you because I heard about your past.
Oh, you knew.
Rena laughed sadly. She seemed shocked to find out that I knew about her history when she thought I didn't. But I was like, so what?
Eh?
It doesn't matter how bad you were before you moved here. You've been through ups and downs with tears and laughter, but since you moved to Hinamizawa, you've been living a proud life. The important thing is that you regret what you did. That's all that matters. You've grown up to be a respectable person. I don't care about your past. I should have noticed it earlier. Rena is Rena. That's why she's Rena Ryugu. I couldn't understand that simple thing when she said she wasn't Reina. You heard about my past too, right? I was pretty bad as well. I was such a brat. I regret the stupid things I did. So, I thought moving here was a good opportunity for me to start over. I believe I've been the person I wanted to be since I moved here to Hinamizawa. Isn't it the same with you, Rena? It doesn't matter how you lived in Ibaraki. The important thing is that you're Rena Ryugu. You wanted to be in Hinamizawa. So, I don't care about whoever Reina Ryugu was.
Yeah, you're right.
We can start our life over as many times as we want. We might make a lot of mistakes and hurt ourselves, but that lets us become the people we want to be. You fall once or twice in your life, but that's life. We can't let that beat us down. We have to keep growing. So, I was such an asshole for getting scared of you because of your past. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. When you go through a lot of pain, you can be kinder to others. So, I don't need to know your past, and even if I knew, it shouldn't have changed the way I treated you. But we were fools. We couldn't understand that until we went through things like this ourselves. Mion knew that from the beginning. We were such fools. We hurt each other and we made each other cry. So, Rena Ryugu is and always will be my best friend forever. When you have to go through the hard time, I'll help you no matter what. Trust me on that.
Thank you. I trust you, Keiichi-kun.
It's very tragic, but what she said wasn't true. She probably didn't mean to lie, but I knew she didn't trust me from the bottom of her heart. The words didn't reach her. I knew that because Rena kept telling me to trust her that time. She kept saying those words while I kept hitting her with the bat, but they still didn't reach me.
I don't think I have much time left. But I'll try my best to save Hinamizawa because wonderful people like you live here.
No, Rena.
I'm not going to let them take over this village. I'll fight it so we can regain the peaceful days we had. I'll defeat their conspiracy.
She said that she trusted me, but she didn't understand anything I was saying. Even if I kept telling her that the conspiracy was Takano-san's delusion, it wouldn't reach her.
Thank you, Keiichi-kun. Thank you for forgiving me.
I do. I forgive you. So, please, forgive me for what I did to you.
I'm going to save Hinamizawa. I promise. So, Keiichi-kun, will you help me? I trust you. Only you, Keiichi-kun. We can save Hinamizawa together.
Rena. Rena! I knew how bad of a corner Rena was driven into. If I was her, I'd be walking around with a baseball bat, thinking every single person around me was my enemy. Rena cared about me so much, but I saw her as my worst enemy. But Rena, you still trust me, even when you're driven into this bad of a corner. I couldn't understand what you were saying. I beat you to death while you kept telling me to trust you. But you're different. You still trust me? You are so...
Why are you crying?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll never betray you. I trust you, Anna. So, please forgive me.
I don't know what you're talking about. You've always believed in me, Keiichi-kun. So I trust you too. I can trust you, right? You're the only one who trusts me, right?
Tears fell from my eyes. I sobbed and nodded again and again to answer her. Tears welled up in Nana's eyes too. Before I knew it, we were putting our foreheads together with tears in our eyes. Well, I found a way to end this battle.
Really?
Yeah. I might not stand a chance, but this might be Rena talking.
But this is the best and only resistance I can think of.
Rena, I don't know what you're going to do, but if you do that, we can regain our happy days, right? We can, can't we? We have to, or I'm not going to let you go anywhere.
Don't worry, Keiichi-kun. It's going to be a come-from-behind victory, and we'll regain our happy days for sure.
I don't know what she had on her mind. It began with a delusion, and it ended with a delusion. If I encouraged her too much, she twisted into an attack on her. I was like that at that time. I took Rena's goodwill as a complete opposite thing, so I stopped denying her story. This was Rena's battle. It was her lonely battle. She had to fight against her own delusion. The more we tried to help her, the more we drove her into a corner. But I would always be there for her. Whenever she needed help, she could reach me. I wanted to let her know that, so I said just one thing. I'm on your side until the very last moment. No matter what, I'm on your side. Even if I told her to trust me, I knew she couldn't right now. I knew that. Oh, pardon me, I need to cough. There we go. I knew that, but I told her these words anyway. Even if she couldn't believe them, and if she tried to smash my head in, I'd say those words. I'd keep saying them until I die.
Thank you, Keiichi-kun. Everything will be over tomorrow. We'll win for sure. And then we could play around in the club together again, with everyone. We'll return to our happiest times.
Although she wished to regain our happy times so badly, I couldn't get rid of the darkness that controlled her mind.
Well, I have to go now. I have to get ready for tomorrow.
To tell the truth, I didn't want to let her go. I wanted to stop her even if I had to grab her arm.
Oh, Rika? Beep. Why are you still awake? It's not good to stay up so late. I'm sorry. I couldn't sleep, so I was just looking at the stars. I'm going to bed now. Please do. Good night, Rika. Good night, Satoko. Okay, now we can save. Because I think we have, like, 1 or 2 chapters after this one. I'm not sure. Or at least this mini chapter. I am sorry for clearing my throat like that. I apologize greatly. Walking with only Mion to school made me miss Rena a lot. What's wrong, Keita? Why are you looking around? What? Oh, nothing. It was the same old path to school, but I felt nervous for some reason. I wondered what Rena meant when she said she was going to win a come-from-behind victory last night. I couldn't stop feeling like something dangerous was going to happen. Rena thought Mion was one of her enemies. She could be lying in wait to attack Mion with a knife. Don't worry, Rena isn't going to do something as rash as that. Even if she does, I can protect myself. Mion said it as brightly as if trying to tell me she wasn't afraid of anything. But I couldn't be optimistic like her, because I knew exactly what Rena was going through. Rena must be determined by now, and she probably wouldn't mind dying fighting against Mion if she wasn't going to win anyway. Of course, that didn't mean she was definitely going to take violent action, but I couldn't deny the possibility either. This old man is more concerned about the reason why Rena went crazy all of a sudden. Was there any reason? I remembered. The tragedy. I couldn't remember what made the world go crazy, but I remembered we lost in that awfully scary world. It started with small things, and those small things continued to pile up one after another. If you thought about it calmly, you'd laugh, because it was a really stupid thing. But once those tiny little stupid things started to bother you, you couldn't ignore them. It was that kind of disease, if you could call it one. But there must have been a reason. There must have been a reason that made the world go crazy. But it must be such a small thing that you couldn't even notice. And unfortunately, the reason was very difficult to understand, and you wouldn't be able to figure out until you died. I have a relative who's a doctor. He said if you have a tumor in specific parts of your brain, it can change your personality, make you a totally different person. People who suffered from this disease used to be considered haunted by devils or possessed by foxes. People dramatized it like it was something occult. You mean Rena is suffering from a physical disease in her brain? In her case, it might be better to say that it's a mental disease. Rena was upset and mentally unstable because of the murder of Rina and Tepe. At a time like that, that stupid Oishi told her about what happened to Tometake-san in an exaggerated way. I think Oishi-san and Takano-san's scrapbooks have many things in common. Really? Like what? Well, he believes in the series of mysterious deaths of Hinamizawa, but that's a delusion, isn't it? I mean, something actually did happen for 5 years in a row, but I think there is no series of murders in the first place. It was true that the mysterious incidents happened 5 years in a row, but they were each solved individually. It was the same as a past that you didn't need to talk about. We thought of them as a series of mysterious deaths, which is why we thought something was going to happen this year, too. It led us to think that there was a conspiracy, and that the Sonozaki family was behind it. We connect those things to the series of mysterious deaths, but we shouldn't do that in the first place. Just like I tried to keep my distance from Rena when I found out about her dark past. Wasn't everybody trying to keep their distance from the dark past of Hinamizawa? Takano-san's scrapbooks were a good example. She dramatized both recent incidents and old cruel history, and she made feasible stories out of them, saying that the Sonozaki family was behind it all. Oishi-san did the same thing too. He was so convinced that the Sonozaki family was behind all that it was making him interpret things the wrong way. In that sense, we could say Oishi believed in the same delusion as Rena. I think the Sonozaki family is partially accountable for that because you guys act like you're behind it every time something happens.
In this village, people think that it's the doing of the Sonozaki family whenever something strange happens. It's like a magic word that makes everything settle down. It's like these people who say they can explain all the phenomena in this world with plasma. What? Oh, and what's that supposed to mean? Are you saying all of this is the Sonozaki family's fault? Exactly. It's all your fault. So I'll call you Plasma Mion from now on. That sounds like a wrestler's name. Well, I like professional wrestlers. Hey, Kei-chan, do you know what abdominal stretching is? Stop! I don't want to wrestle with you in this freaking hot weather. No, that hurts! Stop! Okay, I was like, okay, we're out of the school and nothing's happening. Is the text gonna be read?
Good morning, Keiichi-san. Good morning.
Satoko and Nika-chan looked a little sad when they saw only the two of us. If the three of us came to school together like always, they would have been all really happy. But our classmates were as noisy as usual. Nobody seemed to make a big deal about Rena's absence. Chie-sensei was going to be here soon, and she'd start morning homeroom. Everyone was fooling around as if they didn't want to miss a second of the time until then. Hey, something stinks today. Close the windows. Silly, it'll be hotter in here if we do that. It smelled like gasoline or something, and it really stank. Someone from the forestry service must have been putting gasoline into the construction equipment or something. Some students near the windows were making a fuss because they wanted to close the windows to shut out the smell. Our school wasn't a normal school compared to others. We were using a part of the forestry service building. Unusual things like this happen sometimes. This is nothing. I remember they once bought a few piles of juniper branches. That was awful. It had this distinct, irritating odor that gave us all headaches.
What's a juniper?
It's a moth.
Yep. That's the name of a vegetable. We sometimes put it in curry.
You should look for it next time you go grocery shopping.
Huh? I know little about vegetables, but it sounds like it would be better to make Rika and Keiichi-san taste it first, just in case.
What? Our ball is missing. You hid it again, didn't you, Hojo? The boys seemed to be looking for their ball for a while, and they yelled at Satoko.
Why would I hide such a stupid thing? If I was going to hide anything, I'd hide something better than that.
Hey, Chie-sensei is coming. Everybody, take a seat. Hello, everyone. Get to your seats. I need to cough again. Okay. I kept thinking about Rena the whole time during class. I thought about what she said last night. I wonder what her come-from-behind victory means. According to Takano-san's delusions, the masterminds behind the bioterrorism were the three families and the group of fanatical believers that controlled those three. In other words, the Sonozaki family. What could Rena do alone against them? Mion lived with her grandmother, the head of the Sonozaki family. There were only two of them in the house. It was possible that Rena would try to break into their house with a knife, but I'd already come up with that possibility last night. That's why I called Mion and warned her. On the way to school this morning, Mion told me some bodyguards from the corps have been at her house since this morning. She told me she'd be guarded herself, too. There was a black car parked near the school gate. They must have been the bodyguards. But, according to Takano's parasite theory, the battle wouldn't end just by attacking the leader of the Sonozaki family. According to the delusion she believes in, the conditions of her victory were more complicated than that. She needed to expose the group of fanatics who were behind the Sonozaki family, and she needed to destroy their research on the parasite. Plus, Rena didn't have much time left thanks to that suspicious poison she mentioned. But how exactly could she win a come-from-behind victory under these circumstances like that? She might interpret that the town council are the group of fanatics. If so, she might attack them in the next time that they have a meeting at the shrine. The town council meets once a month at most. It would be hard to believe that they were holding a meeting today. She probably thought that the place researching the parasite is the Iri Clinic. Rena suspected that there was something fishy about the clinic from the beginning. and that suspicion might have changed to certainty in her head by now. Did that mean she was going to attack the clinic? This wasn't like an action movie. What could she do all by herself? Was she going to start a fire? No, that would be pointless. In order to expose the conspiracy, she'd have to get the proof that they were actually studying the parasite. Was she going to break into the clinic and get questionable weird samples? The last problem of all was that how much time she had left. If she believed she didn't have much time left, especially under desperate disadvantageous circumstances, she might try to stab whoever she thought was an enemy. My voice is going burr. There we go. But Anna sounded like she really believed that she would gain her happy and peaceful days after everything was over. Nana probably meant she was going to stay alive and win. Was there something like an antidote? It wouldn't have been real. Or it didn't have to be real. As long as it was an antidote to Rena's delusion, it didn't matter what it was. It could even be the water you washed your vegetables with. But if she thought that she could get the antidote so easily, she wouldn't have been so desperate about the time she has left. The antidote must be difficult for her to get. The easiest place for that, in her delusion, was that it was hidden somewhere in the clinic. Putting it all together like that, I felt like Edie and his clinic were in danger. Now that I thought about it, the elderly people in the village, including the members of the town council, hung out in the waiting room of the clinic all the time. If most of the board members happened to gather there for her, it'd be the perfect place to attack. I told Mion about that during lunch break. If this were a normal situation, I'd say she wouldn't do such a stupid thing, but I couldn't actually deny the possibility. I'm going to call my house. I'll make sure that they send some people to the clinic. Mion didn't object to my crazy idea. I accidentally summoned my table. She put down her chopsticks and went to the teacher's office to make a phone call. I feel like I should have a different keybind for the table.
It sounds so dangerous. I can hardly believe Rena-san is going to do such a scary thing. Are you sure she's going to attack the clinic?
Maybe she will, maybe she won't. But if that happens, we're screwed. We need to prevent that disaster from happening.
I hope nothing happens at all.
Okay, I'll send 2 of our subordinates to the clinic. I don't think she'll do it, but you'll never know what's going to happen. Can we capture her by force if she does? Honestly, I don't want to do that. What do you think we should do? We made an arrangement with the cops that we're going to give Rena Ryugu to them after we find her. So even if we use force to capture her, we won't get in trouble. I'm not worried about losing a face. I just feel sorry for Rena. I really want to settle this calmly if possible. Well, she's still young. So as long as she didn't kill someone or something, all she has to do is apologize and everything will be fine. Ha 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 ha. How about that? Well, then she might be out of our hands. Oh, you mean you know. As long as I don't find out about it, she'll be safe. She'll definitely be safe. Nobody really cares about the disappearance of those 2 anyway. People think that they ran away somewhere because they did something wrong. Those things happen all the time. So she's fine. Don't worry about it. She's out. She's safe. What? Are we playing baseball now? Anyway, please just be careful. Will do. So, it's okay to capture her by force, right? Don't make any mistakes. You have to get her. Please don't make it like a chase scene or anything like that. I couldn't help but have a silly chat with Kasai-san. When I put the phone down, I sensed Chie-sensei was looking at me. No wonder, as she had been able to hear the conversation clearly in this tiny room. Chie-sensei put her spoon down, and with a sad look on her face, she asked the following. Were you talking about Ryugu-san? Yes. Sonozaki-san, do you know why Ryugu-san ran away from home? You're close, aren't you? It was hard for anyone to understand Rena's situation except for me and Kei-chan. Wait. Oh, I guess we're Mion now? So most of them thought that Rena ran away from home. But after she did, the cops made too much of a fuss over it. Oishi stupidly believed that the scrapbooks were a big scoop and he overreacted in trying to find Rena. He had patrol cars running around everywhere in the village. He even used the town council's phone directory to find her. So people in the village thought Rena did something wrong and was trying to run from the cops. What was going to be difficult for me, more than finding her, was to make up a story to retrieve Rena's honor after they detain her. What about this? Rena went for a walk, fell down and hit her head on the edge of some tofu and lost her memory. Tofu specifically, I see. Oishi misunderstood something big time and he thought she was a criminal. It was too easy. Anyway, we did make it clear that Oishi was the one who misunderstood everything at the meeting the other day. I had to make the best use of his name while he was feeling down for once. What I'd have to do was not make a big deal about the situation, and to create an environment that allowed Rena to forget everything that happened in order to get her life back together as soon as possible. I need to cough. There we go. I apologize greatly. Everything is going to be fine, Chie-sensei. Nena's a little sick right now, that's all. And so am I. A fat cop somehow made a lovely mistake and got things twisted around. You don't believe that Nena did something wrong and that she's trying to run from the police, do you? Of course not. But making her family worry by running away from home isn't a good thing to do either. She had a fight with her father and she ran away from home for a little while. She acted childish and that's all. Maybe that'd be the best story to go with. I wonder if she had some problem she couldn't talk to anyone about. I must be a bad teacher because I never realized it. I wish I could have sat down and talked with Ryuga-san before all this happened. Chie-sensei, you're taking it too seriously. You need to relax. It's normal for young kids nowadays to run away from home for a while. Oh no, what am I going to do if Ryuga-san becomes one of those bad kids and starts doing really bad things? Ow. Ryuga-san becomes a bad kid. She does something bad and gets arrested by the police. It's her teacher's responsibility. I'll be dishonorably discharged. Oh no! I can't eat curry anymore! Oh no! What? Wait, was there something after? I'm dead. Oh no, it cut off the I'm dead part. Oh no. Chie-sensei seemed comically upset by her own imagination. It looked funny, so I decided to leave her alone. I made to leave the teacher's office to go back to the classroom, but right then the phone rang. Hello? This is the Hinamizawa branch school. Chie-sensei had to answer the phone all day today because the principal was on a business trip. I exited to the hallway. Then I heard the tone of her voice change. What? Well, where are you right now? What? I yelled and looked back at her. It was probably Rena. She called the school. I tried to go back inside the teacher's office, but Chie-sensei gestured at me not to come in. Chie-sensei acknowledged that Rena was saying several times, and then she looked up at the clock. Okay, I'll be there. I'm your teacher. You promise me, all right? She only said that, put the phone down, and got her purse out of her locker. Class president, I have an emergency to take care of. I'm going out for a while, so please have everybody study by themselves while I'm gone. She took her car key out of her purse. It was obvious she was going to see Rena somewhere. Chie-sensei, was it Rena? That's all. You're in charge of the class, okay? Chie-sensei completely ignored me and she ran out into the hallway. She ran to the schoolyard and got into her car. The moment her car left the gate, I ran to the schoolyard myself. I headed for the black car parked near the gate and knocked on the window. How are you doing, milady? Everything is quiet so far. I know, but I need you to follow that car just to the left. I think she's going to meet Rena. Understood. Rena is very paranoid, so you need to be careful. Bring her to my house right after you catch her. After all, follow Kasai's orders. She's my friend. You better not get her hurt. Rena must have told Chie-sensei that she wanted to talk to her alone. I could tell that easily from the way she ignored my question. I did feel a little bad for ruining their promise, but it was very important that we caught her before she did something wrong. We could still make up an excuse that she was just wandering around because she had a fight with her father and ran away from home. But if she set fire to the clinic or something, there wasn't going to be nothing I could do. The car made a rough U-turn on the gravel road, and it chased after Chie-sensei's car at full speed. I watched the car until it was gone. All I could do now was pray that this would be settled calmly. Hey, pay attention everyone! Well, we need to study by ourselves for the rest of the class today. So get back to your desks and study quietly. Self-studying? Mion ran up to me and spoke quietly. Lena just called. What? Really? Yeah, she just called the teacher's office. I think Chie-sensei went to meet with Lena. Lena, I wonder what she's going to do. I have no idea. Anyway, I told my bodyguards to follow Chie-sensei's car. I feel bad for Lena, but we're going to capture her there by force. I hope it works. They're used to doing this kind of stuff. I'm sure they'll do fine. So, if they catch her, is everything going to be over? Yeah! We'll send her to a hospital. If the doctor sees her, I'm sure he'll find a typical kind of disease or something. It'll be like obsessive psychosomatic disorder or whatever. While we were spending our afternoon studying peacefully, the members of the Sonosaki family would capture Rena, who was waiting for Chie-sensei somewhere. The problem would be solved. It wasn't going to be easy after that, but I was sure Mion would take good care of that. And in the end, everybody would understand that Rena just ran away from home because of a silly fight with her father. A happy ending. Problem solved, right? Mion winked at me. She looked like she already thought everything was over. But that just didn't sound right to me. I couldn't see any connection between Rena and Chie-sensei. It was hard to explain, but there was something wrong. I wasn't saying that they didn't get along. Rena was a good student, so Chie-sensei had a good relationship with her. But I just didn't understand what Rena wanted from Chie-sensei. While I was thinking about it, the door opened and one of our classmates came back from the bathroom. With Rena. Rena!
Everybody, stand up! Move to the center of the room!
Everyone gasped in surprise. Even Chie-sensei couldn't make everybody go so quiet all of a sudden. Rena was gripping the shoulder of the student who came back from the bathroom. In her other hand, she had a big, scary-looking hatchet. It was the same one she had the other night. Everyone immediately understood that Rena had taken hostage.
Are you all deaf? Move to the center of the room. Push the desks to the sides.
Nobody grasped what she was asking us to do. We all froze. Rena was the only one who was smiling. It was terrifying.
Mii-chan, you're the class president. Tell everyone to move to the center.
Rena, what are you doing? Bam! A loud noise washed out Mion's voice. Rena hit the teacher's desk really hard with her hatchet. She pulled out the hatchet, making an ominous ripping noise. There was now a line of violence carved plainly into the desk. Uh-oh. She broke it. Chie-sensei is going to get mad when she comes back. No, that wasn't it. What the hell?
I knew I couldn't trust you, Mii-chan. I'm going to ask Kichi-kun then. You're my only friend, right, Kichi-kun? So I can trust you, can I?
Rena, your eyes. You look so scary. I've never seen eyes like that in my life. Your eyes are full of insanity. Why are people afraid of insanity? Insanity means that a person doesn't share the same values and the same common sense as us. For example, say a thief breaks into your house and he ties you up. You'll get scared and wonder if he's going to stab you before he leaves. But you hope that the thief has feelings too and that he's not going to kill you for no reason. No matter how bad the person is, we tend to believe that it's goodwill as long as we share the same values, the same common sense, and the same morals as him. But we couldn't expect goodwill from somebody who doesn't have those things. We can't expect goodwill from a person who can't communicate with us. When a burglar has a knife and you beg him not to hurt you, you expect him to listen to you and show you mercy. In other words, you can still communicate with him. But if he doesn't have the ability to communicate, he's just like a monster that's trying to attack you, or like the blade of a guillotine that's falling down on you. You fear him because you can't communicate with him. That's insanity. It was the same fear that we were feeling towards Rena at this very moment. She looked like a human just like us, but there was no room for her to communicate with us like a normal person could do. Everybody understood that fear instinctively.
Kichi-kun, make them move the desks to make the room in the middle.
Okay. Everybody, let's do as Rena says. Renna was like a barrel of gunpowder at that moment. She seemed really calm and quiet, but she could explode any minute. When she did, I doubt she'd show us any mercy. She probably wouldn't hesitate to use that hatchet on us. That's right. Just like how I didn't feel guilty or hesitate to kill Renna or Mion. Everybody went all quiet while pushing the desks against the wall to make space where Renna wanted it. Renna, saying that we're moving too slow, hit the blackboard with the hatchet, making a horrible noise. Every time she did that, she left an equally horrible scar on the blackboard, the thing that we looked at most in the school.
Katie-kun, can you get the jump ropes out from the lockers? Use them to tie our classmates up.
I'm not good at tying knots. I probably can't tie them up very well.
I'll check one by one if you tied them well and up enough. If I find the ropes loose, I'll kill the person, so you better tie them up really well.
We were still kids. I saw the word kill all the time. It was used a lot in comic books and cartoons, after all. So normally you'd assume that we'd be used to hearing the word kill. But when Renna said she'd kill us, it sounded so frightening. I'd never heard something like that before in my life. To Renna, our lives were like cards she could use for negotiation. She'd get rid of one card every time somebody refused her request. Get rid of? Damn it, why did we use such scary words like get rid of for simple things like playing cards? Anyway, there were about 20 students in the class. That was a little bit too many for Renna to handle. She might get rid of one or two just to set an example. I decided to do what Renna said because I didn't want her to lose her temper. I got out everybody's jump ropes from their lockers.
All of you, get on the floor. Katie-kun, you can start tying their hands behind their backs. Tie them really tightly. You're on my side, aren't you? You wouldn't tie them loosely on purpose, would you?
Mion tried to make eye contact with me. If everybody was tied down, we wouldn't be able to stop her from occupying the school. There was more than 20 students in this class. Half of them were boys, but most of them were smaller than Renna. But there were enough people here to overpower her. But if we did that, Renna would probably hit her hostage with the hatchet. She'd use the hatchet to attack the rest of us without hesitation. It'd be a bloody battle. I'm sure somebody would get hurt if we tried to overpower her. The hostage would be seriously injured, or maybe even die. If that happened, it was over. No matter how hard we tried to cover it up, she'd never be able to live peacefully like that before. Mion seemed to understand that too. I could tell from Renna's eyes that she wasn't going to go easy on us. If somebody showed defiance, she'd break the hostage's head open immediately. Of course, Renna had done that before. She'd probably do it again with no hesitation. But as long as we did what she said, we could prevent that bloody tragedy. If we could somehow solve the situation without shedding any blood, with Mion's influence, we might still be able to pretend that this never happened. At the least, we had to make sure she didn't kill anyone. Let's do as Renna says, Kei-chan. Mion tried to think of ways to overpower Renna, but she couldn't come up with any good ideas to save the hostage. That's how easy it would be for Renna to kill them. The best thing to do at that time was to wait for a chance without agitating her further. Mion lay down on the floor, and everyone else followed suit, sluggish with terror. And I was left alone, standing rooted to the spot with jump ropes in my hands. All my classmates were lying face down on the floor, while Renna was pointing the hatchet at the hostage, watching every move from behind the teacher's desk. I was just stood frozen in the middle of it all.
Katie-kun, there are many things I want you to help me with, so hurry up. If you take too long, some of them might have to die.
Some of the little kids started crying when they heard the word die.
It's all right, everyone. Katie-kun will save you, so nobody is going to die.
Damn it. What a bold threat. She said I was her friend, but she was just playing with the meaning of the word. I was the last person who could fight against Renna under these circumstances, but it wasn't going to be easy to overpower her by myself. I wasn't sure if I could do that. Even if I tried to act tough, Once Rena pointed the hatchet at somebody's neck, it was over. I shouldn't fight against her for now. I should just wait for a chance. As long as Rena was alone, there would be a chance. She made me tie them up because she couldn't do that by herself. There was a limit to what she could do, because she was by herself. If we could cover this up somehow before Chie-sensei came back, we'd still be able to pretend like we were kidding around. I finally realized something. I realized why Rena called Chie-sensei to meet with her. In order for Rena to take over this classroom, she needed to get rid of Chie-sensei. How kids got chopped up or went crazy.
Hello! Hello, Rocket Time. How you doing today?
Chie-sensei had a very strong sense of justice. Even if Rena had a gun, she wouldn't hesitate to overpower her. She was the kind of teacher who would risk her life for her students. Rena needed to figure out how to get rid of Chie-sensei. That was the key of her plan. Rena probably thought about attacking her from behind at first, but there was risk there, as Chie-sensei was a grown-up woman, so she probably thought that attacking her directly wasn't a wise choice. Doing good, found out I like drawing dolls.
Ooh, nice! Like ball jointed dolls?
Those are very fun to do. I like doing the little ball joints and everything for them.
But that's good that you're doing good. Ah, my nose is stuffy.
So naturally, the next option was to lure her out somewhere. Then I called Chie-sensei and told her she wanted to talk to her in private, in order to lure her out to some place far away from here. Most people, including Chie-sensei, thought Rena was just running away from home.
Hello! Hello, Moki. How you doing? Yes, higurashi.
So Chie-sensei must have thought Rena had some problems she wanted to talk to her about. It was too easy to deceive her. Where did she make the phone call from? She probably used the phone in the school. Well, not in the school to be exact. She probably used the phone on the second floor of the school, the one belonging to the forestry service. I forgot that there was more than one floor to the school. But I guess I can see it here. The school was using part of the forestry service building, but this particular location was more of a branch office, so it's not like somebody was here all of the time. Yes, ball jointed dolls are making a model for my friend and I wanted to go into that cute but creepy vibe. Yes! I'd love to see. Nena knew that, and she had probably been hiding there for a while. She called the phone on the first floor from the second floor, and she made Chie-sensei leave the school. I didn't think it was a coincidence that the principal was on a business trip today. She probably snuck into the school yesterday. She saw the principal's schedule and learned how to call the phone on the first floor from the second, and carried out her plan. She planned it out perfectly. Yeah, I knew it. Nena was insane, but I knew she was also actually really calm. She was possessed by her delusion, but she was also unbelievably calm about it. So, she could still think fast. I knew that very well, because I'd been through the same thing before.
Hello, nobody! Wow, everybody's showing up right now. I wonder if Twitch was bullying me and didn't send out a notification until like almost an hour into the stream. But how you doing, nobody?
I knew that very well because I'd been through the same thing before. What was worse was that Mion's bodyguards were gone. Mion told them to follow Chie-sensei because she thought Chie-sensei was going to meet with Rena.
Oh, that's what I forgot to open!
I knew I forgot something. Let me open my throwing system real quick. That was the one thing I forgot to do. Okay, yes, refund your points and you'll see when I get the program open. Hopefully. Come on, throwing system. Come on, throwing system. Okay. Okay, I think. Wait, let me do that so that way I can make sure. Okay, now you can do that, Moki. Damn it, everything seemed to be working out in her favor. I'm done. I tied up the last person. I looked in Rena's direction. If I didn't tie them up really tightly, Rena would kill them. But when I tied them too tightly, they suffered in pain. Their pain and cries made me feel useless.
Thank you, Katie-kun. I don't mean to doubt you, Katie-kun, but I'll make sure just in case. Please put your hands on your head and lay down on the floor. And I'm saying this to everybody. If you stand up without my permission, I'll kill you. I'll kill whoever stood up, and one more person randomly to set an example.
Ah. Let's see, did you want to do the big heckin' throw, or did you just want to do tiny throws, Monkey? It's not nice to be chosen randomly, huh? Oh, there's a good idea.
Yes, do it, Moki.
I forgot it throws me! Sorry for the coughs. There we go.
It's not nice to be chosen randomly, huh? Oh, there's a good idea. I'll kill a person who didn't listen to me, add 10 to his or her student number, and kill that person too. For example, let's say Okamura-kun didn't listen to me. I'll kill him and Watanabe-kun because his student number is 11. Get it? I'll always be killing 2 of you at the same time. You'd better remember that you involve another person's life beside your own when you attempt to stand against me. I keep getting my nose stuffed. Yeah.
How awful. She totally understood how to threaten people. Normally you stand against an attacker at your own risk. If you fail, you're going to die. But if you were responsible for someone else, then you couldn't try to resist. You can't risk somebody else's life in your own decisions.
Okay. Everybody is tied up nice and tight. You said you weren't good at tying knots, but you did very well, Keiichi-kun. You should be proud of yourself. Well, you can stand up now.
It was too late to fight back. You never got this is the bit where Anna's going full Higurashi syndrome, yeah. I followed her orders. I just had to wait for a chance. We could still turn this into some kind of bad joke. I still forget how this, specific time loop ends. But I don't think it ends good. Knowing Higurashi. I had to do something. Anyway, what were you planning to do, Rena? Don't tell me this is the come-from-behind victory you were talking about.
Pardon me as I have some tea. I don't know if the tea is helping or hurting. I don't know. My nose is very stuffed.
Okinomiya SP to all vehicles. Okinomiya SP to all vehicles. A hostage situation has broke out at the Hinamizawa Forestry Service building. There are reportedly multiple hostages. All vehicles are to head to the Forestry Service building immediately. Who? Did Oishi just randomly stop by and was like, something ain't right here? Because I don't think anybody would have been able to report. Kuma-cha, sorry I'm late. What's going on? Hello, sir. Today around 1 p.m., the Hinamizawa Branch School's classroom was taken over. All 25 students have been taken hostage. The suspect's initial demands were to prohibit all entry to the school's branch's property and to secure a hotline to us. So they're willing to negotiate with us from the start? What's going on? Also, the suspect is asking for you, Oishi-san. It's Reina Ryugu. Oh, that's right. Ryuga-san? Very well. We seem to be inseparable, huh? I'll be dealing with her until the end. I don't think I can do Oishi's voice today, but that's okay. Oishi gave a crooked smile. We don't know if she has any accomplices. The curtains are closed, so we can't confirm the situation. Have you asked whoever told us about this? No, Reina Ryugu declared it herself. Therefore, we don't know what's going on inside. Their teacher received a call from Reina Ryugu as she left the classroom before the incident took place. This has all been planned, huh? Has anyone from the Forestry Service been taken hostage? Nobody from the services is there today. All 25 hostages are students. That number matches with the attendance the teacher took this morning. Has there been any routes where the fat detective dies? I don't think... I could be wrong, but I think he survives each one. Plus the subject, right? Have you seen anyone suspicious other than Reina Ryugu? No, we've seen someone peeking out from behind the curtain, but it was the suspect herself. We're guessing there must be at least 1 or 2 of them, though. Well, maybe she really is doing it by herself. Rena was the true believer of Mio Takano's scrapbooks. I need to blow my nose. Give me a second. There you go. Hopefully I'm not as stuffy. According to the scrapbooks, the entire village was Rena Ryugu's enemy. She didn't have anyone she can trust. However, Oishi has also believed in Mio Takano's delusion. It was possible that someone who was influenced in the same way was following Rena Ryugu. Oishi-san, the principal and the teacher are here. Hello, Chie-sensei. Are you okay? Oishi ran up to Chie-sensei, who was crying with a handkerchief held up to her face. But why does the school share buildings with the forest service? Because the village is... the village was in like a weird situation. Because of the whole dam conflict. So basically, like, it was better for them to just use the forestry service building as opposed to making a new school. I believe. I might be a little bit weird on that. It might have instead have been a case of like the school turned into the forestry service, and so the forestry service building is now the school. I think I could be wrong. Somebody who knows the facts can confirm or deny. I don't know. I want to completely change the tone of this chapter. Oh no! Okay, let me get the timer ready.
I'm feeling okay. Yeah, I'm just a little, I have the little tail end of my sickness still. It's mostly gone, but like it's still kind of there.
Okay, we got the voice. Okay, I think I read that line. I hope I did. Nana-chan is a good girl. For her to do something like this must be some kind of mistake. If I were to do this by the book, I would ask you about Ryuga-san's recent behavior, but when it comes to Ryuga-san, I probably know better than you do. Please, don't worry. I'll take care of this peacefully as possible. Chie-sensei was huddled over, and Oishi didn't think he could say anything else to her. On the contrary, the principal was staying strong, trying to figure out how to take care of the situation. Mr. Oishi, please. If possible, I would like to request to be a hostage myself. It would take the place of the children. Let me do that instead. It'll be my fault. Ah! Please, don't blame yourselves. I have things I want to ask you, so I'd appreciate it if you cooperated. Bunchy kid. Please show them the blueprints. Excuse me, sir. Section Chief Takatsugi on the radio. Hello, this is Oishi. Oishi, how goes things? Is Kumagai-kun informed me of the situation? The suspect is underage, huh? Help, please keep strict control of the press. I understand. Also, the suspect is requesting me as a negotiator. Is that okay with you? You've known Rena Ryugu since the parasite incident from the other day. I bet she still thinks you're her ally. Only you can do the job. Good luck. I really don't want to, but since I caused so much trouble, I guess I'll have to do this to make up for it. I'm glad you're enjoying this, Becky. Oishi-san, Rena Ryugu is on the car phone. That was faster than as expected. Let's go and get it. Thank you. Hello, this is Oishi. Oishi-san, this is Ryugu. Hello, this is Oishi. Is the signal weak in your car phone? It's kind of hard to hear. Just like me, it's getting old. Oishi and I exchanged friendly words. A long cord trailed through the hallway from the teacher's office. The cord extended further to the phone on the podium to the class. Let's get down to business. I'll check to see if you're qualified to negotiate for me. Okay, shoot. You are my ally, aren't you, Oishi-san? Of course. Let's expose the conspiracy of the Sonozaki family together. You and me. Oishi answered without hesitation. Was he still my ally? Or was this sly detective just saying what I wanted to hear? Either way, I only had Oishi to depend on. If I couldn't trust him, I was stuck. There would be nothing else I could do. You didn't believe me for a while either, did you, Keiichi-kun? But you know now, right?
Keiichi-kun was sitting on the floor facing away from me with his head resting in his hands. We're comrades now, huh? Yeah, that's right. Ryugu asked Keiichi Maibara if he was her comrade, but I couldn't hear his voice. Was she trying to tell me that Keiichi Maibara was still active, or that he was being forced to obey her because of the hostages? Maibara-san is your ally too, huh? That's nice. But weren't you suspicious of Maibara-san for a while? Yep. When I heard about the BB gun accident, I actually couldn't believe it. But we can't let the past fool us. We have to learn from the past in order to grow. That's very good. You're absolutely right about that. Oh gosh, I need to cough. That's why we forgave each other. So I didn't doubt Keiichi-kun anymore. Keiichi-kun is my comrade. I understand. Therefore, Keiichi-kun is my ally too, isn't he? Please say hello to him for me. Sure, I will. Actually, I'd like to say hello to him myself. Can he come to the phone? The conversation stopped suddenly. That made me nervous. Did I say something wrong? Sure. Here he is. Keiichi-kun, Oishi-san wants to talk to you. I heard some rattling and rustling on the other side of the phone. Hello? This is Maibara. He sounded monotone. Unable to disobey, Keiichi Maibara must have been pretending to follow Ryugu's orders. Hello, Maibara-san. This is Oishi from the Okinomiya police station. Thank you for coming to the phone. Let's do this together. Yes, let's do this together. What is Ryugu-san doing right now? She's walking around the classroom. Maibara-san, please say yes if your answer is yes, and yeah if your answer is no. Do you know what Ryugu-san wants? Yeah. That answer told me for sure. Keiichi Maibara wasn't Ryugu's accomplice. Oh my gosh, okay, stop, okay. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Whoops. I was just trying to catch up on chat a little bit. Because I was just in the zone of reading that. Oh yes, thank you for the stretch, nobody. Ah! Slightly awkward English works so well with the Valley Girl voice. Yes.
Okay, and hydrate. Hydrate with some water.
There we go. But yes, that was very fun. There's no way Yonetta wouldn't tell her accomplice what she wanted after planning a hostage situation like this. How would he help someone who wouldn't even tell him what she wanted? Your timer went off and I checked my phone. Oh no, I'm sorry. I don't know how to have it not actually make a sound. Or at least not make a different noise. I would love to have it make a different noise other than just the default Samsung tone. I'll ask you directly. Are you Urana Ryugu's ally? No, let me change my question. Are you being threatened by Urana Ryugu? Yes. There we go. The other guys in the car listening in their conversation raised their fist in victory. Just yes! He's he's being forced! Is Urana Ryugu the only suspect? Yes. If she was the only suspect, then we could respond appropriately. I guess nobody else believed in Takano's scrapbooks. If so, my being fooled was even more embarrassing. As I thought about my next question, I heard the phone being taken away from Keiichi. Rena came back on the line.
See? Keiichi-kun is my ally, isn't he?
Yes, you were right. That's very promising.
Okay, now it's your turn to talk, Oishi-san. How are the simultaneous raids on the Sonozaki family going? Remember? You promised me when we talked on the phone before. Have you found the secret research facility yet?
I had to decide on what to say. Should I tell her we conducted raids or not? Maybe she already knew we didn't raid. Maybe she was just testing me. If you go into your alarm settings, there should be an option to change the tone or set it to vibrate. Okay, I'll try to do that, probably after stream. Because I actually never went in to do it. We're trying to come up with a plan for the simultaneous raids as we speak. We're talking to the prefectural police as well as the public safety division. We're talking to the entire city, so we need a little more time to prepare for it.
You're taking too long! Oishi-san, don't you realize what kind of emergency situation Shishibone City is in right now? What are you doing? Oishi-san, you do believe me, don't you? You're my ally, right? Right? Please answer me!
Of course I am. But the police department is a little more complicated than you think. I'm doing my best, I really am. The thing is, this is on a really big scale.
Oishi-san, they poisoned me recently with the parasites that killed Tomatake-san. They poisoned me with them. I've been itching like crazy since yesterday. I'm all bloody from scratching at my throat. I might claw out my throat and die at any moment. You're telling me you're still preparing? I knew it. Oishi didn't realize how dire the situation was. He understood there was some kind of a conspiracy in Hinamizawa, but he didn't realize how soon their plan was going to be executed. Besides, I was already feeling itchy all over my body and was bound to soon die the same way as Tomatake-san.
I'm sorry, I really am doing my best. But everybody asks me if I have proof.
Proof? Do you need proof? Mio-san's scrapbooks. Maybe that was what I need to convince the police. I was afraid someone would destroy the evidence if I handed them over to Oishi-san, so I kept them with me. But I didn't have much longer to live. I might not even make it until tomorrow morning. That's right. I might be dead before tomorrow. I would die tonight. Okay. I'll give you Mio-san's scrapbooks. Please use them to convince the other policemen.
Ah, that should help. Please do give me the scrapbooks.
I looked through my backpack, which was lying by my feet. Mio-san's scrapbooks were in there. This was our last resort. Oishi-san, do your best. No, you must take care of it, please!
Of course. Trust me, I'll expose you to their conspiracy.
I knew the police would take too long to get things moving. They're an organization after all. That's why I'm doing this, to make them understand. You have an excuse now. Please use this chance wisely.
Thank you. You can count on me. So, how should we do this? Do you want me to come get it? I knew she wouldn't let me into the classroom. She was still cautious. I could guess where Runny Ryugu was going to take this, so I tried to stay away from her, or stay ahead of her. I handed a memo with my instructions on it to a colleague. I need to blow my nose again. Give me a second. There we go. I can't really leave the classroom,
So I'll have Keiichi-kun deliver them to you.
maybe that's better. If you left the building, something might happen.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm sure the Sonozaki family already knows about what's going on in there. I'm sure they didn't expect you to do something like this, so they might come shut you up.
To shut me up? What do you mean?
By shooting you. A hitman from the Sonozaki family may try to put a stop to this by sniping you. That's why you shouldn't come outside. Don't even go near the windows. I saw you peeking out of the window, but you shouldn't do that. They may fire at any time.
Wait a minute. Are there policemen around? Can't you stop that from happening?
We would if we could, but it's so open around here. A well-trained sniper could easily shoot as far as 400 meters. As you know, attack units from the Sonozaki family have been gone through military training, and they specialize in assassination techniques. Don't underestimate them. I need you to help me expose the conspiracy of the Sonozaki family. Ah!
What'd I do? Okay, I'll hydrate. I'll hydrate for you, Moki. There we go. I understand. Thank you for your warning. Even if my life is to end tomorrow, I can't die now.
That's right. Under no circumstances did you peek out the windows, okay? Be very careful. And Oishi, I keep trying to attempt your voice, and it's just the snot is just like, hey, here's a good place to hang out. You're Snoot. The phone conversation ended. Runny Ryugu was going to let Keiichi Maibara deliver the scrapbooks. Did you get what I wrote on the memo already? Yes, we've got it. Do you think it'll work? I scared her, so I don't think she'll peek out of the windows. I'm sure she'll still have her eyes open, though. I'll work around it. I roughly understood what was going on from the phone conversation.
Okay, Keiichi-kun. Here are the scrapbooks. Their contents are very important. They're proof of the Sonozaki family's conspiracy, and the police can use them as evidence to conduct a raid. Please take this to Oishi-san, okay? And when you give it to him, come right back. I'm watching you. If you do something you aren't supposed to, I'll be angry.
Anna took out a couple of old scrapbooks from her backpack and gave them to me. Then she cast a sidelong glance at Mion.
I'll tell you about these later, Mita. I'll tell you all about what a scary conspiracy your family is planning. Or maybe you already know, huh? Anyway, go on, Keitiku. Just go halfway into the schoolyard. Don't say anything. You're just delivering the scrapbooks. Don't talk, okay? If you do... If it was Chie-sensei, she'd slap you with a ruler, but... What should I use instead?
All right, I won't even say a word. Come on, put the hatchet down. I'm your ally, right? Trust me, okay?
Yeah, you're right. I trust you. So please, don't betray me, okay?
Odena's eyes were telling me clearly. They were telling me she didn't trust me. But even in this state, she also knew she shouldn't distrust her friends. Therefore, although she couldn't trust me, she was pretending to. That was why she didn't tie me up. Okay, I'll be going. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I walked past my friends who were lying down on the floor and headed to the exit. I saw some of their faces as I passed. Some were fearful. Some were sure that I'd use the opportunity to run. And some were scared that they'd die if I did. Don't worry, guys. I won't let her even touch any of you. If Anna tries to do something, I'll stop her, even if I have to risk my own life. Anyway, I do whatever it took to ensure that nobody died. I had to make sure Anna didn't get angry. I just wait for the right moment. Axe trust the best tribe of trust, right? Well, more like hatchet. Or, I mean, it's called a hatchet, but it's kind of a different shape than the hatchet, I think. I'm not sure. I went down to the school entrance and changed my shoes, then unlocked the door and stepped outside. I felt the fresh air on my skin. I saw the lights from the police cars. I could feel all the policemen looking at me. As soon as I was in the schoolyard, a little voice tried to tempt me. I was free from Rena now. If I ran off the school grounds, I'd be free. What was I thinking? If I did something like that, Rena would go crazy, and who knows what else she'd do. The important thing here wasn't my safety. It was to make sure that Rena didn't kill anyone. I saw a big man coming towards me from the school gate. That was probably Oishi-san. Oh yeah, and this time Lopuki never really met him. Are you Keiichi Maebara-san? Hello, I'm Oishi from Okinomiya Station. You can call me Kuda-chan. I feel like he's never had that nickname. At least not around the kids. Sorry, but Anna told me not to talk and just give these to you. So please, just take them in silence. I understand. These are the scrapbooks, huh? I'll take them. I tried to hand the scrapbooks to Oishi-san, but he stepped aside a little. Eh? Confused as to what he was doing, I changed my position and handed them to him again. He took them that time. And at that point, Oishi put something that was under his jacket into my pocket. Don't worry. Even if Ryuga-san was watching, the building is behind you. She couldn't have seen that. Eh? What is this? I couldn't look into my pocket because I didn't want Anna to suspect anything. But whatever it was pretty heavy for its size. I have a memo for you, too. On your way back to the classroom, please read it without Ryuga-san noticing. Go on now. She'll get suspicious. I just followed his directions. I was worried that Anna had begun to suspect something. When I looked at the classroom, the curtains were closed, but that didn't mean she wasn't peeking out through a crack. I went back to the entrance and locked the door. If Anna checked and found the door unlocked, it could cause more trouble. Anna was in the classroom. There was no way she'd come down this way. She was alone. If she left the classroom, everyone would get up and run. They couldn't run because Anna was there, but they were all waiting for their chance. The entrance, then, was Anna's blind spot. As I changed my shoes, I quickly removed what Oishi-san had put into my pocket. There was a radio with an earpiece? And something else that looked like a short police baton. There was also a folded piece of paper. I opened the piece of paper and saw a note written in small print. Dear Maebara-kun, please hide the bug in your pocket. It picks up even a low voice, so you can use it to get in touch with me. By using the earphone, you can hear me in return. There is also a spray for self-protection. It sprays as far as 1 meter. Make sure you aim for the face. This must be the spray. I guess it's safe to try it here. I held down the button and gas sprayed from out the nozzle. Oh no, Katie, you need that for, the future. Compared to Anna's hatchet, this required some caution, but it was small enough to fit inside my hand. It was reassuring that I could hide it so easily. In other words, it was now possible for me to stop Anna. As I realized all my classmates' fates rested on my shoulders, I felt sweat form on my face. The memo continued. The spray is just for self-defense purposes. Pepper spray only impairs eyesight, and while it makes your enemy powerless due to extreme pain and coughing for at least 30 minutes, it's not powerful enough to render them unconscious. I feel like pepper spray, since he test sprayed it, she's gonna smell it. I've heard stories of people just spraying just a little bit of pepper spray in their house and it stinks for a week. Therefore, please don't forget there is a possibility that your enemy may fight back desperately in panic. The spray is your last resort. Please don't depend on it, but if you need to, make sure to use it. Oishi. Was he telling me to use it? Or not? It was probably one of these grown-up issues. If the cops entrusted me solely with the fate of the hostages and I failed, they'd be held liable. So while he gave me a weapon, he made me consider its use. I hid the bug and the spray in my pockets and went back to the classroom. I felt a little dizzy, maybe because I was nervous, or maybe because I sprayed pepper spray in the same room that I'm sitting in. I was simply following Nana's orders because I had no other choice. That was why I wasn't scared. But things were different from before. I had a weapon. I was in far better position. I'm going to play table RPG. Okay, have fun, nobody. Hopefully your rolls are good. Oh, thank you for the bits. Thank you so much for the bits, nobody. I was in a far better position, but my heart was pounding. Humans are so strange. Shit, what am I going to do? What should I do, Keiichi Maebara? Did I want to fight with Rena? The memo said the spray only reaches as far as 1 meter. 1 meter? That was basically a hand-to-hand battle. That meant I only had one opportunity. I didn't have a second chance. The memo also said I'd need to aim for her face. That wasn't going to be easy. Shit. Besides, Rena was cautious. How could I stand directly in front of her within 1 meter? But that's what I'd have to do if I was to have any chance of winning. Nana would do anything to reach her goal. She wouldn't even hesitate to kill. Just like how I didn't. Of course, things were already extremely serious. An apology definitely wouldn't be enough. But at least there hadn't been any casualties. The more time passed, the more irritated Anna would get. She might demand something again, and she might kill someone that time to show how serious she was. Bad things had already taken place, but a tragedy hadn't occurred yet. But it was almost there. It wasn't very far at all. When I closed my eyes, I could easily picture Nana killing one classmate after another. After I killed Nana and Mion, my room was covered in blood. If she killed 20 people, the classroom would be a pool of it. If that happened, she still wouldn't realize she was being delusional. She would rip out her own throat and die. That would be too big of a cross for her to carry, and one day she would remember and be saddened. She didn't need to go through that. I didn't want Nana to go through what I had to go through. Shit, I felt dizzy. That was a very long hallway. I didn't know the classroom was so far. With each step I took, my determination to fight Rena became stronger. Rena would be shocked to realize I betrayed her. But if she couldn't wake up from the nightmare on her own, someone else would have to wake her up. And her friends needed to be the ones to do that.
Welcome back, Keiichi-kun. Did Oishi-san say anything?
What is this smell? As soon as I stepped into the classroom, I smelled something. Everyone had moved to one corner of the classroom. The smell reminded me of a gas station. Was this gasoline? I saw a red gasoline container by Rena's feet. The cap was open. It was seemingly sturdy and made of metal. It said gasoline on the side, written in felt marker. She must have spread it across the entire classroom. The smell was almost giving me a headache. No, it wasn't just in the classroom. The classmates were soaked in gasoline too. How could she? I see. This was just like a hijacker holding a bomb. If the police were to rush in, she would burn the hostages. I didn't know where she got it, but she had a lighter in her left hand. Anna, what do you think you're doing?
Of course I won't actually do it. This is just insurance. I don't want to barbecue anyone either. So I hope this is all just an end as a joke.
Anna showed off the lighter. Obviously, she was trying to threaten me. I've heard about people committing suicide by setting themselves on fire. They pour gasoline on themselves and light it ablaze. You might think that if it was extinguished right away, it wouldn't be that bad. But human skin is supposedly very delicate, and they say that even 30% of the person's skin gets burned. It's going to be fatal. If it was your entire body, it would result in death for sure. I had been put in a disadvantaged situation. My weapon might take Anna's sight, but I couldn't stop her from using the lighter. She'd probably use it the moment she's attacked. I didn't know if she'd realized it, but the kind of lighter she had would keep burning until the lid was closed. Therefore, all she'd have to do was light it and drop it onto the floor. In other words, my spray can wouldn't make Kurena powerless at all. The last resort Oishi-san gave me had already lost its power. I need to go. There we go. What do you mean, insurance? With those scrapbooks, Oishi-san would convince the rest of the police. After all, their investigation would expose the conspiracy. Right?
Do you really think those scrapbooks are enough? I know government people don't move nearly quickly enough.
Nana was thinking that if she didn't see any progress with the scrapbook, she'd pressure the police by letting them know about the gasoline.
Let's just trust Oishi-san for now.
We should just wait to hear from him, okay?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, let me pick up where I left off. Anyway, those parasites became harmless with the passage of time, but some people didn't like that. Those people are the 3 families of Hinamizawa. Therefore, they are...
Nana was simply telling everyone what she heard from Takano-san. I started mumbling so I could let Oishi-san know what was going on. What a smell. Scattering a whole portable tank of gasoline. I was pretending to mumble to myself, so I could only say it very quietly. I wished I could say it I wished I could say it louder, but it was probably impossible. I wasn't sure if Oishi-san could hear me. I thought of an idea to find out whether or not they could hear me. It'd be nice if I heard a car honk. Kuma-chan, honk the horn. The guy honked once quickly. That was not quick. Gasoline, huh? Shit. That explains the smell. I'm sure she's intending to use it to get what she wants. Kuma-chan. People usually mean an 18-liter tank when they say portable tank of gasoline, right? Well, probably. But I'm not sure. Kamayami-ku! Is there still someone from the forestry service here? Could you get him? I see. Those cans have gasoline written on them. Do plastic kerosene cans have kerosene written on them? Yes. We don't want to mix them up. All the fuel containers have labels. Not too many people know this, but regular portable tanks can't hold gasoline. Gasoline, while common, is extremely flammable and can be lit even with static electricity. Wow. Therefore, gasoline must be kept in special metal containers. Those are called carrying cans. So what Maibara-san called gasoline really is gasoline. Are there different sized carrying cans? 18-liter and 5-liter, I think. 5-liter ones are rather flat in shape, aren't they? Yes. It's red and flat with a handle. Keiichi Maibara called it a portable tank. Do you think it's a 18-liter type? Maybe he called it a portable tank because he wasn't familiar with the shape. But either way, if it's really gasoline, it's really dangerous. Gasoline burns when lit. But what's an even bigger threat than liquid gasoline are the fumes. When gasoline fumes are lit on fire, they explode. Also, gasoline evaporates easily. Even at freezing temperatures, it evaporates. And so, in other words, inside the closed classroom, the fumes would fill the entire space. The classroom would then become a bomb itself. Kuma-chan, do you know anything about Class 4 hazardous materials? No. I know gasoline fumes are dangerous, but I don't know any more than that. To prepare for the worst case scenario, I want to find out the difference in scale between the 18-liter and the 5-liter. I know. I'll ask the old guy. Excuse me, could you call the station and see if the old guy from the forensics department is still there? Oh, I've heard what's going on. The criminal requested you, huh? Kaboom! Richi Patsuron. I feel like that's I can't remember the name of the thing that they keep playing. Ah! Oradora on top of that too. This isn't a laughing matter anymore. Anyway, do you know about the 4th class hazardous materials? 4th class, huh? If we had everyone here, we know everything about hazardous materials. Did the suspect spread gasoline or something? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here. We have bugged one of the hostages. Supposedly, the suspect spread gasoline throughout the classroom. But we don't know if it's from an 18-liter can or a 5-liter can. Could you tell me the worst-case scenarios for both of them? How big is the classroom? Let's see, approximately 50 square meters. And the room is closed, huh? More than likely. I'm sure the smell must be horrible. That's not good, Oishi. I had a feeling. The classroom will blow up. Everyone in the classroom will be dead for sure. You mean in the case of the 18-liter? Fool, I'm talking about the 5-liter one. If I remember correctly, 4 liters is plenty enough to blow up an 8x8 meter room. The police listening to the conversation on the side went pale. 8x8 meters meant a room that was 64 square meters. Only 4 liters are needed to blow that up, and at least 5 liters are scattered in the 50 square meter room. In other words, the room has more than enough gasoline, huh? That's not good. I'd rather not hear this, but what would happen if it was an 18-liter can? Let's see. To put it in your words, Oishi, the dealer's hand is Richi, Ipatsu, Pinfo, Tanyao, Aka Aka, and Dora Dora. What do you mean? Buy man from the dealer, 24,000 points. The base distribution is 25,000 points, so there will be a 1,000 point stick left. Something like that. There may be 1 pillar left if you're lucky. Oh my gosh. I don't want that kind of Richi. You should call the fire department and get a chemical unit ready. You'll need to have them deal with it after the incident is taken care of. Shit. I've heard this through the bug, so if a fire engine shows up, the suspect will find out. I guess I'll have them get ready where she can't see them. Yeah, that's a good idea. You mentioned a bug, didn't you? Yes. I had a chance to come in contact with one of the hostages. I gave him a bug. That's how I found out about the gasoline. That's not good. There have been incidents where the sparks from the electronic devices set gasoline on fire. You know, gasoline's flash point is about 300 degrees. Even static electricity can easily cause an explosion. You've got to be kidding me. Why is such a dangerous liquid available just about anybody? How the heck should I know? Tell that to the fire laws and automobile companies. Since it's June, the air isn't that dry, but just be on the safe side. Tell him to turn the listening device off. Oishi-san, according to what I can hear through the bug, the suspect has a lighter. That means if Maibata-san used the pepper spray to stop her, he wouldn't be able to prevent her from igniting the gasoline. And we can't even use the bug anymore? Damn it. Oishi, a lighter is really, really bad. Don't even let her play with it. The suspect may not know how dangerous gasoline is. From hearing how much she spread, I don't think she knows anything about it. Oishi's back was covered with a cold sweat. He never even thought that this would turn into such a serious matter. He didn't know how dangerous gasoline was. He didn't know because he never heard of cars exploding in car accidents. He knew it was dangerous, but he didn't know what it was capable of. Gasoline is more dangerous once it evaporates. Therefore, a burning car in an accident and gasoline fumes being ignited are at completely different levels. It's quite simple to... It's quite simple to understand that if you think about how car engines work, cars vaporize gasoline in the carburetor and let it explode in the engine cylinder. Can we word today? Can we say words? In other words, that little explosion in the engine is what gives cars the power to move. Therefore, if you want more power, an engine needs to be bigger and create a bigger explosion. So, if an engine cylinder was the size of the classroom, how much power would it create? Anyone with knowledge of engines would know, but a lot of people don't consider how dangerous evaporated gasoline is, because it's too familiar. 25 hostages and 1 hostage taker. All 26 people are basically stuck in a huge bomb. Furthermore, the suspect might accidentally set it off. If she were to pretend to light the lighter as a threat, that would be the end. All of the people around Oishi had gone pale. The classroom might explode at any moment. How could they all save the hostages? Especially when the criminal was lying in her own delusion, and her requests were something so unreal. Excuse me, I found a letter in the scrapbook. One of the policemen brought over a folded piece of paper. Oishi opened it while the others watched. He saw girlish handwriting in the paper. He could tell this was written before she invaded the school.
Dear Oishi-sama, if you're reading this letter, that means I'm at the final stage. I must have seized the school and held the students as hostages. And I'm planning to appoint you as a negotiator, so please pretend to be threatened by me and become my contact from the outside. The first thing I want to tell you is that my enemy is the Sonozaki family and also the aliens who are pretending to be parasites that control the Sonozaki family. I forgot that she thought aliens existed. Aliens? I didn't think you'd believe me if I brought up the aliens, so I didn't tell you about them until now. But when you read these scrapbooks, you will understand. The aliens came to Earth in UFOs in ancient times. They landed in Onigafuchi Swamp. They used this village as their breeding grounds, and through the selective breeding, they widened their domain. They were successful, and now they're trying to invade the Earth. What the heck is this? All the other policemen frowned at the letter. No, it's not surprising. I read Takano's other scrapbooks, and they were full of even stranger stories. Personally, I liked the one about Ulsi the best. The Sonozaki family, as well as the village authorities, have been brainwashed by the aliens. The villagers' attempts to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama were actually part of the alien strategy to invade the Earth. The aliens are very clever. They don't let people realize they're being controlled. The Eri Clinic must be their secret research center. Please conduct an investigation and expose their secret. Also, please check out the bottom of the swamp. The UFO must still be there. Also, capture all the relatives of the 3 families and take x-rays of their brains. You'll find hideous parasites inside of them. But please be careful. The aliens eliminate whoever finds out about them, and by replacing their host with a look-alike. That's how they have been controlling the village. Therefore, there may already be some aliens among the villagers. It is possible that they will try to interfere with your investigation. As a matter of fact, there have been look-alikes of Mio Takano, Rika Furude, and me, Rena Ryugu. If you see any of these 3, capture them immediately. That will be the proof of aliens existing among us. Mio Takano? Why does she think that? Ah, I know. I told her over the phone that according to the results of the autopsy conducted by the lab over in Gifu Prefecture, the day of her death doesn't match up. Ah, are you talking about the mistake on her autopsy results? I told her I didn't know why Mio Takano was witnessed on the day of the festival when she died the night before. I never thought she'd take it like this. Maybe I joked around a little too much. It's interesting that she included herself. Did she look in a mirror or something? One of the policemen spoke up. He was one of the pair who searched the garbage dump that night. I couldn't understand that. Remember? The night we looked for Ryugu, somebody said that she was seen in Gogura. I need to blow my nose. Give me a second. There we go.
That must be it. It was probably a bluff from the villagers, and she must have heard it somewhere and assumed that there was another version of her walking around. Damn. Nostradamus, was it? This was just like that. No matter what happens to her, everything sounds like it was predetermined. But I know Ryugu would blame aliens if she was to trip and fall down now. Or maybe she's coming up with all this crazy stuff so that once she's caught, she can use the insanity defense in court. No, this isn't about that. She really does believe in this crazy stuff. She does from the bottom of her heart. I know that for sure. She truly believes in those stupid scrapbooks. Ah, there's another letter. Let's see. P.S. I was poisoned yesterday with the same stuff that killed Tomitake-san. I've been scratching my throat since then. I will probably have clawed my throat open by tomorrow. If you can find the antidote when you investigate the ED clinic, please bring it to me. This sure is something. Yeah. If she believes in alien stories, maybe we could trick her with an antidote. But you may not find the antidote. Or maybe it will be too late by the time you do. Therefore, considering the time I have left, I will set 7 p.m. tonight as the deadline. If an investigation doesn't take place and the antidote doesn't arrive by 7 p.m., I will choose to die with all the hostages by lighting the gasoline instead. 7 p.m.? What time is it now? It's a little before 6. Days are long nowadays. It doesn't get dark even in the evenings. It'll probably start to get dark around 7 p.m. We only have an hour. No, it might explode even before that. Shit. What can we do? What the heck is she talking about? An alien invasion? And she's trying to take the hostages with her? That's just crazy! Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. We can't negotiate with her normally now. Especially when she thinks she's actually absolutely sane. Wah! Oishi-san, look what comes next. What? I'm planning to spread gasoline throughout the classroom. I'm sure you realize how dangerous that is. If anyone suggests storming into the room, please tell them exactly how bad an idea that would be. Also, the hostages are anchored down with U-shaped bike locks. Even if those alien policemen rushed in and kicked me, they'd have to cut each lock. But if you tried cutting them, you might create sparks. Therefore, you need to completely ventilate the room first. In other words, it would take an extremely long time to rescue all the hostages from the classroom. Actually, I have a different explosive system set up other than the gasoline I spread. Oh my gosh, Lena! It's a very simple time bomb using gasoline and a kitchen timer. The kitchen timer provides electricity at a set time. I ripped the tip off its plug, so it'll create enough sparks to ignite the gasoline. I've already set the timer to 7 p.m. Even if I'm not around, there will be an explosion at that time. If the classroom isn't ventilated by that time, it'll explode too. I'm sorry to ask you like this, Oishi-san, but please help me so we can avoid a tragedy. Please let the three families know that Mion Sonozaki, the successor of the head of the Sonozaki family, and Rika Furude, the mascot for the cult of Oyashida-sama, are in this classroom. If anyone from the three families helps you, I'm sure this conspiracy will be exposed by tonight. The alien invasion is going to happen very soon. Please get going quickly. To my ally, Oishi-san, Ranaryugu. Smash. Oishi threw the scrapbooks to the ground. Damn it! How could you call me your ally? Is the kitchen timer like an alarm clock? I don't think that this is the time to ask that. Old appliances didn't have timers. A kitchen timer is a device that turns on appliances at a given time. When you plug it in, it provides electricity at a set time, so the appliance will come on when you want it to. Wow, that's convenient. We're taking this way too casually, guys. It's possible to use that to make a time bomb. Using a kitchen timer, that sure is something a girl would come up with. What? Why don't we call the electric company and turn the electricity off? If there's no power, the timer can't go off. But that won't work. If the classroom became dark, she'd probably light her lighter. Maybe we could give her a sleeping pill as an antidote? But it would have to take effect slowly. I'm sure she'll have the hostage try it first. Be very careful. Understood. I'll get one ready. I need to talk to Maibata-san one more time. I have to tell him not to let Ranaryugu play with the lighter. I also have to tell him to turn the bug off. How about that? And by the way, have you heard anything interesting? The suspect seems to be abusing a hostage. Shit. I think it's Mion Sonozaki. Stop it, Rena! Rena kept hitting Mion, who had her hands tied behind her back. Rena wasn't using her fist, but instead the handle of her hatchet.
Keiichi-kun, you promised me you wouldn't move. If you do, I'll be angry.
Rena's gaze intimidated me. Her eyes were full of madness. I could feel Rena's emotions boiling over on the inside. If I opposed her, she could easily cut Mion's arm off.
What I can't forgive is that you dug up the corpses and turned them into the police. I trusted you! I trusted you!
Rena hit Mion's face over and over. It wasn't just Mion's hands that were tied behind her. Her neck was also tied to a window frame with a bike lock. There was no way that Mion could protect her face. I didn't know if her forehead was cut or if her nose was bleeding, but her face was covered in blood. Her blood got on the handle of the hatchet, and every time she got hit with it, more blood was smeared on her face. The handle of the hatchet could easily smash her forehead. Because of her position in the Sonozaki family, Mion couldn't say that she hid the bodies, so all she could do was endure. However, Nana continued to attack her. Nana no longer had any restraint. She might even continue until Mion's front teeth were broken. Stop it, Nana! Haven't you done enough? I'll tell you the truth, so Nana, please stop hitting her!
The truth? What is it, Keiichi-kun?
No, you can't, Kei-chan. Everyone, please don't listen to what I'm about to say. I may say some disturbing stuff, but it isn't anything wrong. So please don't listen. Even if you hear it, forget that you did. Please.
What are you going to tell me? Go on, Keiichi-kun.
It's not a complicated story. That was for your sake. We found out afterwards that the place you buried the bodies was going to be clear-cut this summer, so we thought that we had to do something about it, and Mion hid them in a safer place.
You told me that same story the other night. Didn't I tell you that was something Mi-chan made up?
Why would she lie? She wanted to help her friend. Mion did that to help you.
That's a lie! I won't believe it! Why would you do that without talking to me then? Why did Mion even have to tell her? Whoops, that's not me talking anymore.
Mion was trying to be delicate. Mion did her best trying to hide what Rena did. Mion knew Rena was at her wit's end, and that was why she did it in secret. But Rena didn't want to believe her.
That's not so, Keiichi-kun. How contemptible of you, Mi-chan, to even deceive him. I won't say anything about your tricks during the club activities, but this? I can't forgive you. I can't forgive you. I can't forgive you. I can't forgive you!
Stop it! Don't hit Mion. Mion didn't do anything. I never knew having your hands tied behind your back was that scary. Mion got hit repeatedly with the handle of the hatchet. She could only endure. She couldn't even protect herself with her hands.
Hey, is it true, Mi-chan? If so, why didn't you tell me?
Can't you understand Mion's position? She has to follow certain rules as a member of the Sonozaki family. Shouldn't you be grateful that what she's done for you? I may have said it too aggressively. Rena turned around and glared at me.
That's right, Keiichi-kun. Mi-chan sold me out to the police because of the circumstances surrounding the Sonozaki family. She sold out her friend. I was her friend. I really liked her. That was mean, Mi-chan. I really did like you so much. Why? How could you? Wah!
This was senseless. Nana cried as if being bullied, but she was the one doing the bullying. Normally, this would be so odd as to be impossible. But I had seen this scene before. I liked you. I trusted you. As I cried, I beat her to death. Nana repeatedly begged for me to trust her, yet I beat her. I know what it's like to be the one doing the beating. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. Stop, Rena. Don't you realize what you're doing? You're hurting your friend with your own hands. I understand what you're feeling. I know you're sad because your friend betrayed you, right? But that's a misunderstanding. We didn't betray you. We've been thinking about you all this time. But she just couldn't see that. Even if she died, Nana probably wouldn't realize she's made a terrible mistake. But someday you'll realize. Even an insensitive guy like me realized, so Rena would realize it for sure. That's when you'll feel even sadder, Rena. You will remember this bloody Mion one day. Then you'll realize that you were the one who made her bloody, and you'll regret that you did. But I was the only one who could remember that. Because I remembered. There was no way for Rena to understand or realize that. I wondered if I was suffering the most of all. There was no way to avoid a tragedy. This was exactly the same tragedy with different actors. The main character was Rena instead of me, but it was the same thing. Where was I? I was in the audience now. I knew how the story ended, but I couldn't come onto the stage. Stop, Rena. Stop. Stop.
Are you crying? What's wrong, Keiichi-kun?
I stood up slowly and walked towards Rena. Just like what Rena did for me before, with my arms open. Please stop. Stop this, Rena. You may not know why now. You may not know why you have to stop now. But if you don't, you will regret it someday. So please, stop.
Keiichi-kun, I'll be mad if you don't move back to the wall.
Rena's eyes went cold, and she lifted the hatchet in her right hand.
Don't,
Keiichi, I'm okay. Mion told me, but with such a bloody face. How could she be? Are you going to hit me with that hatchet?
If you come any closer, I will. Without hesitation. I don't need you anymore, Keiichi-kun. But I want to be with you until the end. So please, don't make me mad, okay? Okay?
She sounded gentle, but her expression was telling me that there was really no hesitation. Then I would crack my head open with the hatchet immediately. But who cares? If you were in my shoes, what do you think you would do?
Of course, I don't want to die, so I wouldn't oppose my opponent. If they had a weapon, I wouldn't be scared, or I would be scared.
That's a lie. I know. I know you're strong enough to give up your own life for the sake of your friend. It's my turn now. My turn to be strong. I'm just like you. I won't hesitate to give up on my life for my friends. If you want, I'll give that life to you. So stop this. If you trust your friend, stop hurting her. The same pain will attack you later, so stop. Nobody is trying to scare you. We are all thinking about you. Don't doubt that. Please believe it. Trust me. If you could come to trust me by smashing my head in, go ahead and crush my head with that hatchet. I won't try to protect myself.
Don't come any closer. If you do, I'll light this place up.
Nana lifted the lighter overhead. You fool! How long are you going to dream about such crazy things? You already know that yourself, don't you? That is all just a bad dream. You want somebody to wake you up. I'm here. I'm here to wake you up from your nightmares.
You're the one who has to wake up, Keiichi-kun. Can't you believe that these aliens are trying to invade the village? You believed me back then. Are you doubting me again? Can't you trust me?
Nana opened the lid of the lighter. I could tell her thumb was about to light it. But Nana was prepared to die along with everyone else. Nana would die without knowing the truth. She would die believing that this world was crazy. She would die cursing everything in this world. That was the storyline of this tragedy, wasn't it? That was the theater from hell. What an interesting script. Who wrote it? A devil? Shit. I won't let this happen. Don't underestimate Keiichi Maibara, the original main character. Don't think the same storyline will work again. I'll be taking over the script this time, and I'm going to destroy it. I won't let this bad ending take place. I'm going to destroy their expectations. You're the one who doesn't trust me, Rena. Just trust me. Shut up and trust me. This is all for your own sake. As the main character of the previous tragedy, I'm telling you this. You just shut up and listen to me.
What are you talking about, Keiichi-kun? We're not in a visual novel. Shut up and trust you? You're the one who doesn't trust me, Keiichi-kun. Why don't you believe me?
Shut up! I know you're wrong. I know how you'll end up, and I know you're going to regret it in the future. I don't want you to finish your life without realizing what you've done. You just don't know how sad that is yet.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you okay, Keiichi-kun?
Yeah, I bet. I bet you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'll tell you. I'll tell you the story of a pathetic guy. Once upon a time, there was a pathetic guy named Keiichi Maibara. He had no complaints about his life, and he spent every day having fun with his friends. But one day, he started to doubt them. After a while, he started to doubt everything. He didn't notice how worried his friends were, and he hurt them repeatedly. How sorrowful. They trusted each other, but they couldn't let each other know. Could you believe something as stupid as that actually happened? That I beat you and Mion with a metal bat to the point of death. But you begged me to trust you until your final moments. You didn't even try to protect your head. You trusted me until your final moments, reaching your hands out to me. I didn't realize what you were doing, and I beat you to death anyway. Do you know how sinful that was? I bet you have no idea. That's why I have to make up for what I've done. I'm going to stop you, Urena.
If you come any closer, I'll light the lighter.
Just as you tried to save me with your life, I'm going to save you, Dana! I still remember how magnificent you were when you died. You weren't even afraid of it. Those words will reach him, she thought. These next words will make Keiichi-kun realize. Trust me, Dana! That was when Nana hit my head with the hatchet. I crumbled down on the floor. She hit me with the handle, but my head was probably cut open. I felt the blood on my face.
Poor Keiichi-kun. That's not of your own will. The parasites that are living in your brain are controlling you. Oishi-san will find the medicine for it. When he comes, I'll let you take the medicine first. Then you'll be free. You'll return to the Keiichi-kun that I loved. Just hang in there for a little while longer, okay?
Damn you. I heard a phone ringing in the teacher's office. Nana listened to the phone ring for a while, then realized it was for her. Nana tried to answer the phone in the classroom, but she couldn't figure out how to transfer the call, so she decided to answer it on the teacher's office instead.
I'm going to the office for a bit. Don't run away, okay? If any of you are missing, something terrible will happen to Micha, okay?
Renata glared at everyone in the classroom, intimidating them, and then left. Ah! That was when I heard a honk from the outside. I remember the but she couldn't embrace Satoko. But she put her forehead closer to her in praise. Okay then, I'm asking the world's best trap expert, if you were to blow up this room, where would you set a time bomb?
Count on me. The device has to be connected to an outlet, huh?
Yeah, that's right. But it could be somewhere else other than in this room. It's possible that she spread gasoline all over a different room and set the device there.
No, I don't think she had enough time to do that. She had gasoline hidden close by and only spread it here. That was about all the time she had.
I remember now. Nana told me last night that she had prepared something for today. That means she had things ready since then, at least.
Those are all the hints I get, eh? What a cruel minesweeping game.
You can find it, Satoko. If you can't, there's no way I can win. Or I can. I'm wagering all my trust in you.
You could do it, Satoko. In order to save Rena, please find it. In that case, very well. I shall prove that Rena-san's trap is child's play compared to that of my own.
I'm going to ask you one more time. If you were to blow up this room, where would you set a time bomb? Satoko grinned and then closed her eyes to concentrate. Who are you people? Move over. Who's in charge here? Several cars had arrived, producing several men. They weren't from the Okinomiya station. One of the men was wearing a suit. Despite the hot weather, he approached me, pushing Kumagai aside. Hey, look who's here. Good to see you again. Otaka-kun from the prefectural headquarters. Watch your mouth. I'm ranked much higher than you now, so don't address me so casually. Can I help you with something? Otaka-kun? I'm rather busy at the moment. You can't possibly be thinking about taking over this case. Who proved that exactly? I did, Oishi-kun. Chief? Takatsugi-kun has informed me of the situation. He also told me that you started all of this. You can go now. The troops will take over. Troops? Otaka-kun, you aren't going to storm the building, are you? I understand the risk, but we don't have any time left before the bomb goes off. You've taken too long. We're here to take care of the mess you left behind. Just step back for a minute. I couldn't talk back if both the chief and the guy from the prefectural headquarters gave me an order. Oishi-san, who the heck is he? That's Otaka-kun. Long time ago, he was showing off even though he was bad at mahjong. That was the name of the thing. So I taught him a lesson. Or maybe he's still holding a grudge from when I knocked him unconscious in that kendo tournament. Obviously, we didn't get along. Give me the latest update, Oishi-kun. Are you serious about storming the school? We were about to settle this thing peacefully with some sleeping pills. What are you trying to accomplish here? It's too late for that. If we had another hour, that would be possible. Instead, a special unit from the prefectural police department will move in. Your unit will be their backup. Chief, you know what's going on, don't you? The classroom itself has turned into a huge bomb. But even the classroom isn't the bomb we're scared of. It's the suspect, Ryugu. We finally calmed her down and found a way to settle this peacefully, and we were about to start the operation. I know we only have about 10 minutes, but I'll make sure this works. I'll continue negotiating. If it doesn't work, it'll be blown up. Then you can sit back and say I told you so, okay? Oishi-kun. The special unit from the prefectural police department isn't just any old unit. You've heard from the second company, haven't you? What's that, Oishi-san? Is this second company that well known? You remember about 5 years ago when the JRA hijacked that airplane, Flight 472? I've heard that special counter-terrorist units were put together in Tokyo and Osaka after that incident, so they really do exist. But why would the special unit from Osaka be here? Otaka smiled proudly. We just happened to be holding a training session with your prefectural police unit. We requested their help. You haven't changed, have you? You have a bad tendency to escalate matters quickly. The company members exited the vehicles one after another and took position. They didn't move like policemen. Otaka-kun, are you really going to have a gunfight here? One shot is all it's going to take to trigger an explosion. Don't worry. They won't use firearms. They're using riot shields and riot guns. Those guns send out tear gas at high pressures. There will be no issue with explosions. Wow, I've never heard of such convenient water guns. By the way, can that toy reach the classroom from across the schoolyard? You don't need to worry about that. You just move over and let us do our job. As I lifted my arms exaggeratedly, one elbow accidentally touched the car horn, which honked. Of course, I did it on purpose. Are you trying to get Keiichi Maibara's attention? Of course. I just hope he heard it. What are you going to tell him now? They're probably thinking about breaking one of the windows with a grenade and then shooting tear gas into the room. They have no idea how serious Sunano Ryugu is. Deadly serious. Even the noise of a window breaking could drive her over the edge. Are you saying the special unit can't suppress her? Of course not! That's why we've been so careful. Sunano Ryugu has been intending to kill herself this whole time. A raid doesn't work on people who don't care about dying. We only have Maibara-san now. Oishi-san! Here he is! Hello, this is Oishi. If you can hear me, please cough. This is an emergency. Please listen. I have a feeling that's not good news. Unfortunately, you're right. The prefectural police are getting involved. They're going to ruin everything we've worked for so far. Didn't he tell him to, turn off the device? There's a special unit about to break in. Hey, the only reason I haven't used my pepper spray is because that won't stop her from igniting the gas. A raid won't work. Prefectural police don't understand that Ryugu-san is prepared to die. They're assuming the lighter is just a threat and that she isn't really going to ignite the gas. They'll break in within 5 minutes or so. Please take the lighter from Ryugu before they move in. Is that in addition to your order to do something about the time bomb? Yes, that's right. You've got to be kidding me. You want me to take the lighter from Rena and do something about the time bomb too, all within 5 minutes? Come on. You're the only one we can count on. I'm begging you.
How is it, Satoko? Can you think of something? I just have to check the hallway on the first floor to check whether it's there or not. Knowing Nana-san's patterns, it was on the first floor. It would be there. And if it was on the second floor, it would be there.
I just have to check to see if there's a cord in the hallway on the first floor, right?
It should be there. If Nana-san was in a normal state of mind, I would know for certain, but with her being like this, I really cannot figure out her thought pattern right now.
Okay, I'll do something. We don't even have time to think about it. I'll look into those two options myself. I don't want another tragedy. You demons down in hell, I bet you're just waiting for an amusing ending to unfold while eating some popcorn. I won't let that happen. I'm going to change everything.
Hello, Yuru. How are you doing? It's been a while.
And then I'm going to make you pick up the popcorn off the floor. I spoke to Rena as she continued with her story about the aliens.
Eh? What is it? What's the matter, Keiichi-kun?
Hey, didn't you hear something just now? Nana went quiet and looked around. Nana had become totally paranoid about everything. Once she became worried, she couldn't ignore it.
Really? Are you sure, Keiichi-kun?
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard something. I knew she'd want to check it herself, but she really couldn't leave the room for something like that. So in that case, she'd have to ask me to check for her. Nothing speaks summer like good old cicadas, right? It has nice vibes, even though we're, not in the best of situations. Nana must have been thinking the same thing.
Keiichi-kun, can you go check?
Nana gave me an order with a fake smile on her lips. Yeah, okay. Nana watched me go out into the hallway. As I did, she spoke to me.
Don't make me angry, okay?
Trust me, I'm your friend.
Yeah, I trust you. I trust you. So don't betray me, okay?
After being freed from Nana, I looked for a cord in a hurry. I didn't even have 5 minutes. The office probably had more outlets than anywhere else. I headed for the teacher's office. Shit, where were the outlets? Unlike light switches, outlets couldn't always be near entrances.
Yeah, no angie.
Damn it. Why did the clock in the teacher's office have to make such a loud ticking noise?
Don't worry. Keiichi will find it. Nana-san would. If I were Nana-san. If Rana-san was even more mistrusting than usual, where would she set up the trap? A trap expert like myself ought to be able to discern that.
What's this? I saw a plug inserted into a unit under the principal's desk, and I saw a cord extending under the door to the reception room. There shouldn't have been any reason why a cord had to be extended into that room. The reception room had an outlet of its own. I tiptoed over the reception room and opened the door.
Squeak!
The door squeaked as I cracked it open a little. I poked my head into the reception room. I saw the suspicious cord crossing the room and extending under the door to the hallway. I followed the cord through the reception room. I opened the door to the hallway, and the cord was extending into the storage closet. The storage closet was used to hold cleaning chemicals. I could smell them from here. The cord was extending into there. Carefully, I opened the door and turned the light on. The cord was attached to another extension cord, and there was an alarm clock that didn't belong in there. I found it! The time bomb! So all I'd have to do was unplug the cord. I picked up the alarm clock. It looked like a normal alarm clock. Actually, it was a normal alarm clock. I remembered Kumagai-san calling it a kitchen timer. He said it was a bit like an alarm clock, but this wasn't a bit like an alarm clock. It was an alarm clock. Wait, didn't alarm clocks use batteries? This alarm clock was a battery-operated one, too. I looked at the extension cord, and there was nothing plugged into it. What was this extension cord for? Why was this extending all the way from the teacher's office?
No, Keiichi-san! Run!
Satoko?
That's the wrong place, you've been tricked!
A black shadow was covering me. I felt my body freeze. It was so frozen that I felt it was about to crack. I turned around slowly and saw someone holding a hatchet above their head. I dropped the alarm clock. It made a noise as it hit the ground.
Why did you follow the extension cord? And why did you have the alarm clock in your hands? Why did you?
All the cells in my body were frozen. This was Rena's trap. Nana was suspicious of everyone, including me. This whole time, she thought there was someone connected to the people outside. This was a trap to lure that person out. Only the people outside knew about the time bomb. I was told about the whole thing, and so I followed the extension cord and picked up the alarm clock. How stupid of me! Wait, Rena!
I trusted you, Keiichi-kun! How could you?
Rena hit me in the back of the side of the hatchet earlier. It was painful, but it didn't kill me. But this time, she was holding the hatchet the right way. It wouldn't just crack my forehead. It would split my entire head open. Rena lifted the hatchet mercilessly. She moved slowly, as if everything was in slow motion. She looked almost divine. Maybe it really was holy. I was praying, after all. Praying? What was I praying for? I was praying for my life. Wah! It was so sudden, I couldn't tell what happened. Rika-chan had jumped onto Rena from behind. I didn't know what kind of weapon Rika-chan had used, but Rena started moaning. It clearly hurt. That brought me back to reality. I couldn't just watch them. I had to get the lighter from Rena. Wah!
Oh no, Moki, you exploded? Oh no! Don't think you could win with me or force!
Rena knew I was was after the lighter. She closed her fingers around it tightly. Rika-chan was grabbing onto the arm Rena was holding the hatchet with. I wanted to tell her to run, but thanks to Rika-chan, I could use both my hands to try to get at the lighter. Wah! The lighter flew out of Rena's hand. It hit the hallway wall and dropped down to the floor. I picked it up. At the same moment I did, Rena managed to shake off Rika-chan.
Keiichi-san! I know now! I figured it out!
I heard Satoko screaming from the classroom. Satoko had figured out where Rena hid the time bomb. I wanted to catch Rena, but I didn't have time for that. I had to do something about the time bomb instead.
Keiichi! Hurry up and get back to Satoko! Rika-chan has spread her arms
Rika-chan has spread her arms, blocking Rena's path forward. What are you doing? Just run!
Keiichi, this isn't the first time I've done this for you. Don't you remember? If I tried a little harder the previous time, you could have made it. So this time you're going to make it. Just go!
I didn't know what Rika-chan was talking about. I like to think Rika's speaking with her adult voice in moments like this. Yeah. I'm always kind of like switch it between. But there was one thing I did know. Just like Rena and Mion were ready to give up their lives for their friends, I was willing to give up mine. Rika-chan was prepared for that too. Therefore, telling Rika-chan to run was like telling her she wasn't my friend. And so I will depend on my friend, Rika-chan. Thank you, Rika-chan.
Keiichi-san, we're running out of time!
Leaving it to Rika-chan, I dashed to the classroom. As soon as Rika heard Keiichi's footsteps reach the classroom door, she sighed in relief. As she did, Rena's black shadow came even closer.
That's great! That's just great. This isn't a club activity, you know? You'll be killed for real. You'll be killed by an angry Rena. You're not afraid of me, are you? You're amazing, Rika-chan.
Rika grabbed a mop as she ran from the storage closet. She picked it up and held it upside down like a spear. Rika's stance told Rena that she was ready to fight. Rika didn't look like a little girl anymore. She looked so brave that Rena was even startled by it.
Boy, you really are amazing. You aren't afraid of being killed at all, huh?
Rika smiled cynically. Rika usually never smiled that way. Do you really think I would be afraid of death? I've experienced several hundred deaths up until now. Why should I be afraid of it all of a sudden?
You aren't Rika-chan, are you? You're the one I met that night. Show yourself, alien. Where is the real Rika-chan?
The real Rika? She's right here.
Nipa. Huh? The way you're looking down on me. That really is like Rika-chan. I get it. Oyashiro-sama is an alien. The Furude family is descended from him, and therefore you are a descendant of aliens. I'll crack open your head and drag out all the parasites in your brain.
Then raised her hatchet and charged at Rika with a scream.
Yeah! One swing is all I need to smash your head open.
Then it looked like a beast charging towards its prey. Rika took a step backwards and lowered her body, preparing to counterattack. She did that with no hesitation. Even a minute is a penalty. I'll play with you. Come on, hatchet girl.
Do you not get it, Keiichi-san? I summoned my table again. All the hints were already in place this morning.
Calm down, Satoko. Explain it more slowly so I can understand. What are you trying to say? I genuinely wonder how experienced Rika is with combat. I mean, I guess over like a bunch of years you kind of learn a little bit. But you know, your body can only do so much at that size.
It's simple if you just remember. Come on, it's quite obvious when you do.
Hey, something stinks today. Close the windows. Silly, it'll be hotter in here if we close the windows. We'd been smelling gasoline coming from outdoors. There was no forestry service people in the office, so they weren't doing any work today. The smell wasn't coming from anything they were doing. In other words, it was the smell of Rena's gasoline. You'd start to figure out some patterns eventually. Yeah. Rena hid the gasoline near the classroom. She had it in a plastic container. You can't smell gasoline in its plastic container, so in other words, she had more gasoline ready than just in the container she used to spread it around the classroom. Where was the smell coming from? Was it coming from outside? Vaporized gasoline is heavier than air. It stings. There was another hint other than that. What? Our ball is missing. You hid it again, didn't you, Hojo?
Why would I hide such a stupid thing? If I was going to hide something, I'd hide something better than that.
Kids who love to play with their ball never lose it. It should have been in the same place as it always was, but it was gone. So that must mean that Rena used it for something. The gasoline was coming from above. A ball was missing, so maybe it was stuffed somewhere.
Nana-san blocked the drain with a ball and poured gasoline in the drain canal. Where? On the roof of the second floor.
The drain canal extended along the roof of the second floor and came straight down to the ground. If it was plugged and filled with gasoline, it was like a huge Molotov cocktail that extended from the ground to the roof of the second floor. Furthermore, the drain canal ran by the classroom windows. If the canal exploded, the classroom would explode too.
Therefore, the time bomb must be... that was Katie. I bet she ran an extension cord out the second floor window. It's on the rooftop.
I picked up a pair of scissors and cut Satoko's bonds. By the way, how did Ika-chan free herself from that rope?
I apologize for not being thin enough to slip out myself.
I rubbed Satoko's head. Take care of the rest here. I'm going up to the roof. As I jumped out of the classroom, Satoko stopped me.
Katie-san, here!
What is it? Something silver sailed through the air. I caught it. It was a metal bat.
That's Nini's. Make sure you give it back to me, okay?
Sure thing. Thanks, Satoko. The metal bat fit right in my palm. I didn't even feel its weight. It really eased my mind. The name Satoshi was written on the handle. This was the bat that belonged to Satoko's brother, Satoshi. He was the victim of last year's tragedy. You and I were the same. I won't let another tragedy take place. I'll treat this as a gift from you, who is waiting in the wings. Let's rip apart the script of this demonic tragedy together. Let's go, Satoshi! Yeah! As I tried to run up the stairs, I heard a loud noise coming from the hallway by the teacher's office. I saw Rika-chan rolling on the floor. Damn, Rika-chan! You held out as long as you could. Damn it. If my body were 5 years older.
You're next, Katie-kun! Ah!
Shit, I have to go. I have to get to the rooftop.
How did you figure out? How did you? Still, I won't let you get up there.
Nana's face looked unbelievably scary. She was ready to rip me apart if she caught me. In that case, just try me! I jumped up the stairs, skipping every other step. I turned on the bug in my pocket. I didn't have time to put in the earphones. As Nana flew up the stairs, her foot got caught on the jump rope. She tripped, and then 3 buckets fell on her head. Nice! The result of Satoko's trap.
Ow, 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 ow. If it was Rika-chan, huh?
Satoko leaned against the wall and waved her index finger in a mocking gesture.
Oh, ha, 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 ha. You were pretty good, but you were about 300 million light years too early to go up against a trap expert like me. Satoko-chan, light years are a unit of distance, not time.
Smash! The 4th bucket hit Satoko on the head. I continued up on the rooftop. Nana ignored Satoko and ran after me. Oh, Oishi-san! I did it! I got the lighter! I know where the time bomb is. It's on the rooftop of the drain canal. I'm headed right there right now. Oishi-san, is that it? Oishi grabbed the pair of binoculars from Kumagai and looked at the rain gutter on the rooftop. There was something like an alarm clock sitting there. The cord from the clock was extending into the 2nd floor window. It was so obvious, but they didn't even notice until just then. Satoko was working hard to remove her classmates' restraints, but she couldn't do anything about the bike lock on Mion's neck. Just run, everyone. Forget about me.
That doesn't sound like Mion-san. Why not act like our club president, even in a situation like this? All you have to do, as our president, is to give me an order to undo this lock, okay?
Satoko reached for the back of the collar and proceeded to produced a bent hairpin. Satoko opened the window, climbed into the windowsill, and faced the bike lock that was restraining Mion. Everyone, open the curtains and the windows, then run! But Prez, what about Maibara-san? The police will help Kei-chan. You all need to run as soon as possible. Huh? Did you unlock it already?
To me, this type of lock is child's play.
The binoculars were trained on the classroom. All the curtains were open, as well as the windows. The children, in turn, were all running out into the schoolyard. Oishi pushed Otaka aside, then grabbed his radio and yelled into it. All units, go! 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 Secure the hostages. The suspect is going up to the 2nd floor, running after one of them. Hey, what are you doing? Otaka tried to grab the radio from Oishi, but Kumagai stepped in. Oishi-kun, give me back the radio. Get! There was a dull noise, and Otaka crumbled to the floor, convulsing. Oops. Sorry. Guess my knee happened to hit your balls. The classroom is still filled with gasoline. Be very careful. You are forbidden from using any gas bombs or flares. Again, do not use gas bombs or flares. The whole place will blow. Support Unit HQ. We secured 24 hostages. One is injured. This is the assault unit. We're trying to take control of the first floor. We've got a problem. The electrical room is locked and we can't get in. You can't get in? Why can't you break down the door? It's located directly opposite of the classroom. The smell of gasoline is strong there. We might ignite the gas when breaking down the door. We'll await further orders. Shit. We could have just turned the power off. Forget the electrical room. Go secure the second floor. Assault unit, roger that. Alpha, go, go, go! Otaka-kun, what were you going to do if you failed to secure the electrical room? That's what the special unit was for. This was the problem with rich boys. We'll just have to secure the clock's outlet now. Sniper unit to HQ. I can see a male hostage on the rooftop on the first floor. Oishi-san, that's Maibara-kun. Give me the speaker. Maibara-san! The clock is plugged into the back room on the second floor. I shook my head repeatedly. I couldn't do that. Banana was coming after me, so I couldn't head that way. What else could I do? The only way was to go up to the roof on the second floor and get the clock from there. Maibara-san! Continue up the roof for the second floor. I'll direct you from there. Oishi-san was telling me to go further up. Satoko only told me that it was the rooftop of the second floor, and she didn't tell me where exactly. She only said it was in the drain canal. But maybe Oishi-san found it with his binoculars. I put my foot on the railing of the veranda and ran up to the rooftop. I had never felt so light. I felt like I could lift myself with just 2 or 3 fingers. That's it, keep going. That's at the furthest end of the drain pipe. You only have 30 seconds. 30 seconds would be plenty of time. I could get in there in half that. Over there. Was that it? It was! Sniper unit to HQ. I can see the suspect on the rooftop of the first floor. I wish you could fire, but you're using live ammo, aren't you? It's not tear gas or anything, is it? No, it's live ammunition. Use those in the military. Japanese police don't need anything like that. Maibara-san, she's after you. Hurry. She'll be there soon. How many more seconds did I have? Who cares? What? I slid down the roof and grabbed the kitchen timer that was sitting in the drain pipe, which was filled with gasoline. There was a cord with a copper wire attached to it. That was supposed to create sparks and start an explosion. The hands of the clock kept moving, with the second hand trying to reach the minute hand. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Wah! I threw it to the ground. A moment later, I heard the noise of something breaking. Did I do it? Assault unit to HQ. The time bomb has been stopped. Yes! Oh, Oishi-san, we did it! We did it! Yeah, Maibara-san, good job. Keiichi-san certainly made me nervous. Cutting it so close isn't elegant, you know? Not only policemen, but the children who were on their way to ambulances raised their voices in cheer. Oishi-san, there's a message from the fire department. The scene is still dangerous, so order all units to retreat immediately. Isn't the time bomb gone, though? Although the ignition device is gone, it's still extremely dangerous. The lives of the assault unit might be at stake. Damn! What about Maibara-kun up there? Can he jump off? Oishi-san, according to the map, there's a flower bed by the school building. We'll tell him to jump there. Oishi to all units. Stop the operation. Fall back immediately. Fall back. Alpha here. Roger that. Beta here. Roger that. Fall back. Fall back. Can you hear me, Maibara-san? Rodrigo-san too. It's too dangerous to stay there. It might explode at any minute. There's a flower bed by the school building. Jump down there. A flower bed? Damn it, I can't see it from here. But it didn't sound like I had enough time to be looking for it. I noticed a white hand at the edge of the roof, followed by Irena's head. Irena slowly crawled up to the rooftop. I waited for her there.
I never thought you would find it. It was all for nothing.
Irena scratched at her throat. The band-aids peeled off and her throat started to bleed. It's game over, Irena. We were confronting each other on the rooftop on the second floor. This wasn't a club activity, but a real battle. Irena was glaring at me with hatred at first. But maybe she had already given up. She started smiling wickedly. I heard the chorus of the Higurashi in the background, as if to cool us down from the heat of the battle. I didn't think we needed our service yet, or their service yet, though.
Yeah, if it was a board game, you'd have reached the goal and won. But this isn't a game. So this isn't a goal. It's a dead end.
You don't give up, do you? You really are strong. You never give up. You fight until the bitter end. You keep believing until that point, too. I need to cough. There you go.
Praise like that won't make me happy now. You ruined everything that I had risked my life for, Keiichi-kun. I was simply trying to protect our species from the aliens. You ruined it. If humans go extinct, it'll be your fault, Keiichi-kun. That will be recorded in history.
I didn't mean to laugh, but I couldn't help it. My name would be written down in the history books of the aliens as the one who destroyed the human species. Somehow that sounded kind of cool. And no matter what you have to say, I won this game. I've already won, and you just don't want to admit it. That's all.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But maybe that's not how it works. A game doesn't end when there's a winner. It ends when there's a loser. That means, for me, winning isn't enough.
What do you mean?
I tapped my shoulder with the metal bat, gesturing for Renna to come at me. Pardon me. I'm going to make you understand that you lost. I won't run or hide. Do you know why? According to the rules of our club, we don't run from our enemies. I'll prove it to you that you've already lost, Renna! Are you ready? Parasites and aliens? How stupid! Who would believe in things like that these days? I can only laugh. Don't mind that.
You never believed in me in the first place, yet you pretended that you did. How dare you deceive me? I won't forgive you! I'll never forgive you!
I don't care if you believe in those things, but I would never believe in anything that stupid. Well, if I did have to believe in anything like that, I'd rather believe in the buried treasures of the Tokugawa Shingonate. Probably. That one. If you still want me to believe. Don't you remember our club's rules? Whoever concedes victory is the correct one. There you go. Shigone. Oh gosh. I need to still cough. Please throw. This is a very, intense scene. And I grinned at each other, and as we went around in circles on the rooftop, we both checked the distance between us. If you could take me down, I'll believe in your alien stories. I'll perform a mysterious dance every morning and night to call for UFOs to come and beam up livestock. But then, if I take you down, then I want you to be ready. I can't laugh yet, Renna.
I don't think you need to think further than that. I don't think you do. It will never defeat me.
Nana came at me with a heavy strike. I caught it easily with the metal bat. It looked like there were some sparks. This is finally getting interesting. Hey, maybe you shouldn't say that yet. You might be wrong, you know. When I went through the whole lot of fierce battles in our club, I learned something. I learned about myself. Now I know what I need to bring out my ultimate power. Remember the anime when they went hell with the animation, right? like now that it's gotten to this part where they're on the rooftop, it's like, ah yes, this scene, this was iconic.
Really? I wonder what it is. I wonder.
Then your hatchet can be a powerful weapon, but my metal bat is as powerful as your hatchet. Sure, it doesn't have a blade, but it reaches further and it's easier to handle. This was the last episode of the final season, and this was used in every AMV, right? Well, I mean, there's 2 more chapters after this one. So it wasn't the final season. But it definitely went hard. I won't be going for a defensive battle. I'm going to fight you face to face. I'm going to defeat you. I'm sure I'm stronger than you physically, but you're better at drawing out your true potential, Rena. In other words, we're equally matched. This is great. I won't need to hold back at all.
So, what are you gonna do after you beat me? Take that, and that! I think I might have the upper hand.
I'm just warming up. Just you wait and see. Wait and see what I do after I take you down. We've both put a lot of chips on the pile. Prepare yourself for having to make a big payout.
Aren't you counting your chickens before they've hatched? Your bluffing is just pathetic.
You don't get it, do you? My strength increases in proportion to my reward, don't you know? Let's see. You'll be my personal maid. Starting from the moment I wake up until I go to sleep at night, you'll serve me all day, every day. With Coach's help, you'll be wearing a different costume every day, oh my gosh. Wait, until I go to sleep at night? What if I make it so that we won't leave, like you won't let me sleep instead? How about that?
That's so like you, Katie-kun. No, thank you. Actually, I'll win and make you my servant.
We both laughed like crazy people as we struck at each other. It was strange how much fun it was becoming. Renna and I were trying to kill each other, and yet it was a blast. Sparks were flying, we could get seriously injured. If we fell off the rooftop, we'd break our bones, yet this was so much fun. I'd been mourning and crying all day today while Renna terrified me. How did all that turn into this? The two of us can't be serious, even if we try. Even with sparks flying, we can only goof around.
Too bad. That's not me. I like being elegant and graceful. You can have fun goofing around by yourself, Katie-kun.
Renna's next strike came at a strange angle, but I managed to deflect it. Whoa! That's too weak. You're done.
Finally, I'm all warmed up. This is just a warm-up, right?
Huh? Stupid, this isn't even a warm-up. This is like taking a walk. Hey, you're all sweaty.
Instead of sweat, you're all covered in your own blood.
Maibara-san, jump off! Come on, jump! He isn't even listening to us. He's so into it that he can't even hear anything. Oishi-san? Sorry. What was it? What do you mean, what is it? We have to figure out a way to rescue him. Oishi couldn't figure out why he was so distracted, considering the seriousness of the situation. He was so engrossed in watching the two of them fight with the sunset behind them. But Oishi wasn't the only one. Everyone watching was captivated by their battle on the rooftop. At that moment, a sudden loud voice broke the silence. Maibara-san, hang in there! Careful, don't fall! The students were all about to climb into the ambulance. Were cheering him on. Mion was being loaded onto a stretcher with bandages all around her head, but even she sat up, captivated as she was by Renna and Keiichi's duel. Our once happy days were supposed to have shattered due to the series of misunderstandings. They were supposed to be irretrievable. But, why? Why did I feel this way? This was such a close game, but it wouldn't be fun to stay in a stalemate forever. Renna and I kicked at each other with perfect timing and increased the distance between us. Hey, this is a blast! What do you think, Renna? Isn't this just the best?
I've been having fun since the very beginning! But it'll be even more fun to split your head open, Keiichi-kun. Split it open!
Wow, that's dangerous. Over here! come back over here. Let's use some more space. Something like this doesn't happen too often. Let's enjoy it as much as we can.
This would make a great picture. Look, there's a beautiful moon behind us. The breeze feels great.
It was such a fantastical scene. Two people were fighting on the rooftop of the school building with the moon behind them. It was almost unbelievable. All the policemen and children looked at the mysterious and fantastical scene from the distance, completely entranced. Everyone was thinking the same thing, but nobody said anything. Why does it look like they're having fun? Getting all fired up in a breeze this cool. It reminds me of the Watanagashi festival. I don't really like to just sit back and enjoy the cool of the evening in silence. When the moon comes up, I turn into an animal. All us club members went crazy on the night of Watanagashi. The mayor scolded us by the end of it, but we laughed at each other and promised to do the same thing again next year. Nick on the floor bleeding out, just like, please, Keiichi, I sacrificed myself for you again. Please, just win this time. Please, just get her.
Going crazy under the moon, huh? That sounds cool, doesn't it? Maybe we're already crazy.
Yeah, I feel the same. We're having fun trying to kill each other. We must be mad already. This must be what insanity is like. Some people say the moon has the power to arouse passions in people. Maybe that's true, and maybe it's not. One thing that's for sure is that even if it were a new moon tonight, we would still feel the same way. Is this the last Ni chapter? Is it Kai after this? I'm not sure, because all the visual novels are called whole. So there's 2 chapters after this, so it's probably the case. I can't quite remember. There's a saying in Japanese, something like the moon drives people mad, or the moon can light a frenzy in someone's heart. Yeah. As our surroundings got darker, the sparks we'd create with each hit started to look like fireflies. I'd imagine in like the original visual novel, it probably had like that exact phrase, but it just kind of translated differently here. Oh. Hey now. Isn't there gasoline in the drain pipe right nearby? Who cares? If an explosion happens, it happens.
Hey, what are you doing? Are you getting too sweaty to hold the bath? Why don't you take a break and dry your hands off? I'll split your head open while you do that, though.
That's a good one. This is Saix from Kingdom Hearts and Dyson from 2. Yeah. That's a good one. Isn't your skirt clinging to your legs? You can take it off if you want. Oh my gosh. I'll just watch you instead of attacking.
Really? Then I'll give you a good blow to the head while you're charmed by my legs.
Yeah, it's Keiichi. He's gonna be lewd while in a fight to the death. This really is so much fun, isn't it, Anna?
Yep, it sure is.
We flew, we danced, we struck, we laughed. We stepped back once in a while to catch a breath, and then charged at each other and let the sparks fly. We aimed at each other as we went around in circles on the rooftop of the school, our special stage. Brennan and I were all sweaty, but we weren't exhausted yet. The beads of sweat rolling down my body just tickled me. We exchanged furious blows one after another. Neither of us at a disadvantage or advantage. Well, you know, neither of us exulted in victory or raged in defeat. The battle with Anna in itself was fun. It was like a dance. A dance I couldn't dance by myself. It was a dance I could only dance with someone with whom I was equally matched. Didn't you think the same thing I did when we did that club activity with the whole class? The day we dueled with water guns?
Yeah, I did.
We wanted to fight like this again! As we thought that way on the rooftop, our classmates down below must have thought the same. Our fight was so pure and passionate that everyone thought the same thing. We want to join them!
It was the same back then. We were using water guns, but we did the same thing.
But this is far more fun. I don't want to worry about how much water I have left in my gun.
Yeah, we can create sparks with water. We can't create sparks with water guns.
We couldn't strike at each other like this either. We both were breathing hard, waiting for the right timing to take a step forward. In the midst of that, we grinned at each other. This is exactly what I said then, but I'm going to say it again.
Okay then, I'll respond just the same.
We both smiled wickedly at the same moment. This is so much fun. I don't even want to end this.
Don't hate me if you lose.
No, I won't. I'd hate myself for ending this game. But nope. Well, I swapped them. Whoops.
But I know I wouldn't be the one to cry at the end.
I don't know about that. Your feet are getting weak as if they're made out of straw.
Shut up. Whoa! I don't know who's who anymore.
I second-guessed myself, but I probably confused myself. Everyone was captivated by our fight. They were swept up in our fight. We both had weapons. Weapons deadly enough to seriously hurt one another. But we were both perfectly matched, and neither of us had hit the other yet. Why did they look so happy? This was just ridiculous. All of the people below were just watching this fight on the rooftop with a beautiful moon as a backdrop. Not even the police could stop them. This was impossible. This battle was absurd and absolutely impossible. Keiichi-san, try to stay in the middle of the roof. Use the height to your advantage. Setsuko and some of her classmates cheered Keiichi on, but there were some who were cheering for Rena too. To them, this was no longer a fight to the death. It was just the second round of their water gun battle. A club activity is a club activity, and a game is a game. This was just the second round, so nobody would die. Even though they had real weapons, nobody thought they would get hurt. Rika wasn't cheering. She was just looking up at the rooftop. I've never seen anything like this before, Rika thought to herself. She thought Keiichi could win, not against Rena. Rika thought Keiichi could even destroy the walls of the maze of tragedies that had no exit. What are the snipers doing? The suspect is trying to harm the hostage. Fire immediately! As Otaka yelled into the radio, Mion screamed for him to stop. No, don't shoot Rena. Rena isn't crazy anymore. She isn't who she was earlier. That's a different Rena, so please don't shoot her. What do you mean she's different? Look, she's swinging around that weapon. She's trying to kill him. Unless we shoot her down, the hostage is in danger. No, don't shoot at Rena. If you shoot Rena, Kei-chan will kill you for sure. I can guarantee it. Why would he kill me? They aren't trying to kill each other. They're just having fun creating sparks. Can't you see? Kei-chan is talking to her too. He's telling her that they're equal. That means she can trust him more than anyone. Kei-chan will wake Rena up. No, he's already waking her up. Rena's nightmare is almost over.
Keiichi-kun, you're the best. I don't even want to kill you anymore. A world without you would be so boring.
Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. So, what's going to happen to the world anyway? Aren't aliens trying to invade it?
You know, I don't think I even cared about aliens or parasites anymore. If the world is going to perish, go ahead and perish. Who cares about the conspiracy of the three families anyway?
That's right. Even if a meteor hits the Earth tomorrow.
Nothing could be more fun than this moment.
Hey, aren't you supposed to die tonight due to some poison? You sure you sure don't look like you only have a few hours left to live. My laugh is getting weak.
That's right. I completely forgot about that. I'm supposed to claw out my throat and die tonight.
Hey, that's a scenario you came up with, don't forget. Come on, scratch your throat once in a while at least. Hey, I know. It doesn't itch anymore, doesn't it? Does it? It definitely doesn't. This is more fun than scratching your throat could ever be.
Yes! This dance of ours really is way more fun.
I probably switched them up, but that's okay at this point. I wished it would never end, but my body was screaming. I was breathing hard and felt dizzy from the lack of oxygen. My upper body felt as light as a piece of paper, as if even a slight breeze could take me away. It really had been a blast, but I needed to end it soon. I felt the same sadness as in that water gun fight. Back then, it had been declared a draw. I wonder what will happen this time.
Who knows? But one thing is for certain.
What?
I loved doing this with you.
Me too! I jumped backwards and slammed the roof with my bat. The sound was as intense as a huge drum, and the sound woke up the people who were captivated by our fight. The silence returned, and the chorus of Higurashi filled the air. Okay, let's pause for a moment.
Sure. Let's end this with one more strike.
We started to move slowly and increased the distance between us. Everyone realized it. This fight was ending very soon. Okay, this is it. I'm going to ask you one more time.
What is it?
Hey, you're betting something on this, right? Isn't that why you were fighting?
I did? Sorry, I forgot.
You're hopeless. Okay, listen carefully. If I win, you'll become my personal maid and serve me every day. You'll have introduced me to others as your master.
My uniform better be cute.
Of course it will. There will be a variety of uniforms ranging from old-fashioned ones to ones that are a little dangerous. They'll be custom-made so they'll fit you perfectly. How about that?
My goodness. I don't intend to lose, but that could be fun somehow.
If you win, Nana. I paused for a moment. If you win, I'll believe your stories. Nana was happy until just a moment ago, but that expression was suddenly wiped from her face. Aliens are invading the Earth, and we have parasites in our brains. The Sonozaki family is pulling the strings. They're researching the parasites in the secret, and aliens would be in control of the world starting tomorrow. I will believe in that. Also, since you're dying tonight, I'll make sure you go peacefully, so don't worry.
It's not fun if I win, is it? Your reward sounds a lot more fun, Keiichi-kun.
Well, what can I do? You did all this because of what I just said, right? To get my happiness, I had done everything, but had done nothing to be blamed or accused of.
Yeah, I guess. Sorry, I forgot.
Nana smiled sadly for a moment, but soon that expression was wiped off her face too. I'm going to win no matter what. I want my personal maid!
Boo boo. It's not fun if I win.
Then, do you want to change it? What do you want? Finally, Nana smiled happily again. The breeze dried our sweat. It was a good feeling. We no longer went crazy, even with the moon out. We could finally enjoy the coolness of the evening. Then I noticed the fact there was no time. It would be so nice if we could just lie down on our backs and gaze at the moon. Still smiling a little, Nana spoke.
I want the same reward as yours, Keiichi-kun.
What? You want me to be your maid? That's something.
You don't have to be my maid, but the rest is the same. I want you to say good morning to me every morning and good night every night. I want you to treat me well and let me play around all the time. I guess no matter who wins, we'll always be together.
We'll be together, but the one who gets that special treatment is different.
Why am I fighting with someone I like so much?
I don't know. Why are we on the rooftop? Why did we even come up here in the first place?
I don't know. I forgot.
Maybe we're both airheads. That's why we floated up here.
Yep, we're airhead buddies.
We're buddies, alright. Well then, shall we get started? I don't want to cool down too much.
You're right. We better finish up before it gets too cold.
We readied our weapons and took our stances.
I was going to suggest that we stop this. I really was.
I shook my head slowly. No, we have to finish this. Otherwise, it won't end. Our fight won't end. We can't quit. We have to bring it to an end.
This isn't right. It's possible that no matter who wins or loses, there will be no reward.
Even if that happens, we shouldn't hate each other. So, I'm going to tell you this now.
What?
It was fun.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
But Anna, even if one of us dies, we'll see each other again. And when we do,
We'll have fun in a normal way. We'll laugh together in a normal way. And we'll fall in love in a normal way. We won't doubt each other. We'll trust each other. And meet again. Right? For sure, right?
yes, for sure. Tears appeared in Nana's eyes. I noticed I was about to break down too. Okay. Are you ready? There is no...
Oh! Oh! Hello! Cave, you finally figured out how to sub! Also, how you doing, Cave? I'm glad Twitch stopped bullying ya.
But we stepped forward at the same time. Our shadows jumped in the moonlight. We were fighting so viciously earlier, but now it was like we were moving very slowly. We must have looked like a shadow play. Everyone was watching the shadows dance. Nana's shadow hit my metal bat violently. As a result, I let go of it. The metal bat bounced off the roof and then rolled down to the schoolyard. I had lost my weapon. Here was Nana's chance, of course. She wouldn't miss it. I was lying flat on the roof, and Nana was on top of me. Nana's knees were holding down my arms, and there was no way for me to fight back. The moon was divided into two. The shadow of Nana's hatchet had split the moon right down the middle. This was the end. Shit. That was good. Can't even pull my arms away.
Hey, Katie-kun. It's over. Right?
Not yet. It's not over until you swing down your hatchet.
I don't wanna.
Huh?
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Nana's arms were still raised, but tears were pouring from her eyes. What happened? What went wrong? I loved
everyone. I trusted everyone. When did I start to doubt them? I don't know why I'm doing this to you. I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. I would never give you my money. Of course, Gabe, of course.
But I'm doing good. I'm glad you're doing good, Cave. I don't know why I'm doing this to you. I don't know. Why am I doing this to people I love so much?
You realized it. You realized it in this world.
Can't believe myself. Every day was so much fun, but why? Why? I didn't have any complaints. I don't worry about anything. Why did I try to destroy everything with my own two hands?
But Anna, you're incredible. After I killed you and Mion, I didn't realize I had done anything wrong, so I left a note and called Oishi-san. I still believed that someone else was at fault. Until, even after I was dead. I didn't even notice I had sinned. How sad it was to kill my friends because of a little misunderstanding, even when they were trying to help me. And how painful it was not to realize it was a sin. Therefore, you're amazing, Nana. You didn't kill any of your friends. You came to your senses before you committed a sin. You're incredible, Nana. Just incredible. You're totally different from me. Yeah, after all, she brought me a felt marker because she cared about me. Ah! And Nana stood up slowly and lowered her hatchet.
I hurt my friend. I hurt Mi-chan.
Just apologize to her. Personally, I appreciate the wounds will help me tell the twins apart.
I've already killed.
Huh? No, you haven't. Who did you kill?
Rina Mamiya and Tepe Hojo.
Ah, those two.
I thought it was right to kill them, but the day I killed them, the world started to go crazy. Did that mean that it was wrong to kill them?
He was leaning so hard on the marker, right? Keiichi's mind is a wonderful place. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but it wasn't the best thing you could have done.
What do you mean, the best thing?
Don't you know? I grabbed Anna's head and embraced her. Then I told her. I told her something so simple. It was so simple that anyone could think of it. But Anna didn't do it. I didn't do it either back then. If you're in danger, or you feel like doubting others or something sad happens, it was so simple. You should talk to your friends.
That's right. You're right.
I'm never good at crying, or crying noises, especially when sick. But Anna cried in my arms for a while. She cried about the wrong choice she made at the very beginning. The choice couldn't have been hard to see. I'm sure it was something that was within her grasp. How stupid it was to worry about it by herself. She had friends. She had friends who she trusted. Why did she think she couldn't talk to her friends about it? I was wrong. Why didn't I think about that, or talk about that? Everyone trusted me, so why didn't I trust them? Thank you, Cave. I was the same way before. That's why I won't laugh at you. But you realized it. You realized it a lot sooner than I did. We will trust each other. We will never doubt our friends. We will rely on each other. We will talk to each other and help each other. That's why friends are always happy, and why we can endure anything together. Okay, Dana. Why don't we respond to the curtain call? This is really the end of everything.
What do you mean by curtain call? What do you mean?
Well, I was just talking to myself. Come on. We stood up together, holding hands. The moon was hanging behind us. When I nodded, Anna threw away her hatchet. It disappeared into the darkness below. Then I spoke to the audience in hell, the demons who weren't expecting this ending. I was proclaiming victory. That's all for tonight. We overcame this tragedy. We'll never doubt each other again. We'll be reunited forever. No matter what disaster might befall us, don't think we'll ever yield. Who cares about tragedy? Who cares about disaster? Even if the script is written by demons, we'll tear the whole thing to pieces. Oh my gosh. The incident at the forest servid? They typed. Field office in Hinamizawa. Date of event, midday, June 25th, the 28th year of the Showa era. Location, Hinamizawa, Shishibone City. Chom? Not prefecture? Chom? Okay. Inside the Forest Service field office. Summary, on June 25th, the suspect, Ryugu Reina, broke into the Forest Service field office in Hinamizawa. She forced her way into the classroom of the local school, housed within the office complex, and proceeded to take 25 people hostage. This is moving at a much better pace than the previous chapters have been. The suspect scattered around a large quantity of gasoline and held the school hostage for over 7 hours. The situation remained in a deadlock for some time, but at 1845, several hostages resisted and fled from the building. At the same time, a special unit from the Osaka Police Department's 2nd Riot Division arrived at the scene. 24 of the hostages were safely rescued. The remaining hostage fled to the roof, and after brief pursuit, the suspect engaged him in close combat. At 19:10, she agreed to disarm and surrender, freeing the final hostage. They didn't fight for all that long. They fought for 10 minutes. Casualties, 4, all minor injuries. Details follow. Sonozaki Mion, she was captured by the suspect around noon that day. She escaped at 18:45 and was taken to safety. The suspect inflicted minor injuries on her during the fight. Rika was inflicted minor injuries during the fight. Okay. So yeah, everybody's good. Yeah, everybody was okay. Nothing bad happened. Regarding their arrest, Ryugu Reina, she disarmed and surrendered to the police at 1910 and was subsequently arrested. She was taken to the Okinomiya police station and questioned. She admitted to the outline given above.
Nothing bad at all.
There has been some dispute about the accountability of the suspect during the crime, but after subjecting her to a psychiatric examination and prosecution determined the suspect is fully accountable for her actions. The defense is in direct opposition to this and has submitted for their own psychiatric examination report, denying the suspect's accountability. The trial is currently in session. Make sure you get some Pedialyte in you. I don't have Pedialyte. I have Arizona tea. And I have Dayquil and NyQuil, and that is it. Okay, what will go wrong in the next few minutes? What could possibly happen? We got even the little title card for Kai. So, You can order some from 7-Eleven through Uber Eats. Well, then I'm gonna have to pay like $10 on top of that for like delivery fees, if not like $20 on top of that. Oh, there's the Higurashi crying. They're being like, "Hey, you expected a happy ending? We're here to ruin that." Quack 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 quack. Oh, the scenario jump mode has been unlocked. This game features a scenario jump mode. What? What? The tips reading room has been unlocked. Huh? Eh? What? That's a lot of extra stuff. It's okay, Cave. The demon script. Oh, there's so much that we unlocked now. The tips aren't usually long. I could probably read the tip, but I might finish up the rest of the stuff at the beginning of tomorrow's stream. Omake. Because it was just the demon script. Okay. Yeah, this is the most important part, I feel. So we'll do this. The car began to rattle as the road turned from asphalt to gravel. The cry of the cicadas seeped through the tightly shut windows. Most people would open their car windows and let the natural air in along with the sounds of the cicadas. But people are also spoiled. He'd rather keep himself cool with the air conditioning turned to max than listen to the sounds of nature. Usually it was the rainy season at this time of the year. But this June, the summer had already come without any rain. Just like how the weather was on that day, 20 years ago. The air around this area is just as clear as I remember it. Yeah, the winds are cool and the sunshine is bright. This place could have been a World Heritage Site for the village in Gifu. What a waste. But thanks to that, there are no irritating tourists around here. See? That makes it much better. Why do tourists forget about pedestrian traffic laws when they're in rural areas? They walk in the middle of the road, you know? Akasaka-senpai, do you still do stuff outdoors? Not as much as I used to. My job doesn't give me much free time. Same here. Oh, hey. There he is. The other man noticed and waved his hand before anyone in the car could honk the horn. The man was a young fellow on a motorcycle with a big backpack on his shoulders. He looked like he was ready to go camping. Akasaka and his partners stepped out of the car and shook hands with the young man. "Captain, it's good to see you again." "Yo, how have you been doing lately?" "Well, I hope. You can take it easy today. This is Akasaka-senpai. He took care of me back in college. Hello, my name is Akasaka. Oishi was supposed to come here today, but he had to go for a medical checkup at the last minute. Anyway, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's an honor, sir. So, Akasaka-senpai, you're the only name drop that we're gonna talk about other than Oishi. Where shall we go first? His name was Mamoru Akasaka. He was a veteran detective from the Tokyo Metropolitan... Right, you're the man who didn't call his wife! Despite the fact that he was close to his retirement, he hadn't lost his clear initiative and sharp eyes at all. Those eyes showed the confidence he'd built through many risky experiences, and he had a well-built, muscular body and a fearless aura. He must have fought against many violent criminals. His connection to Hinamizawa went back almost 20 or 30 years, all the way back to 1978. He was in the Public Safety Division in the Metropolitan Police Department. He came to Hinamizawa to investigate the kidnapping case of the grandson of Inugai, the then Minister of Construction. There, he met Oishi and Rika Furude. Rika Furude predicted her own death. Akasaka regretted the rest of his life that he couldn't save the little girl from her fate. He saw the news of the Great Hinamizawa disaster on TV and met up with Oishi. They pledged to uncover the mystery of both the cruel fate that fell upon the little girl and the series of mysterious deaths of Hinamizawa. Unfortunately, Hinamizawa was sealed off for a long time. As a result, all Akasaka and Oishi could do for the past 20 years was publish the little information they'd gathered. Yeah, it still happened. Like Rika was probably like, we finally did it! I can finally not die! And then that happened, and she was like, As a result, all Akasaka and Oishi could do was... Okay, yeah, I read that part. Or did I interrupt myself? I don't know. But recently, the seal of Hinamizawa was finally been lifted. However, they couldn't come to Hinamizawa until today due to Akasaka's busy work schedule and Oishi's poor health. In fact, Oishi was supposed to come with Akasaka, but he was called in for an emergency health checkup. She sees gas pouring in and she just rushes to the cabinet and guzzles wine like, let's go! It's like, if I'm gonna have to go, I might as well go out with a bang! The other two who came along were Akasaka's juniors from university. One worked at the ground SDF, and the other was his subordinate. They were assigned the mission of sealing off Hinamizawa, so they were quite knowledgeable about the village. Akasaka took out the scrapbook from his bag. The corners of the scrapbook were all dented, making it look very old. Akasaka flipped through the pages, thought for a second, and let them know his first destination. Alright, please take me to Onigafuchi Swamp. No problem. Right this way, sir. Are they going to find a UFO? The young man got on his bike and waited for the others to get back to their car. They honked at each other to signal that they were ready, and the young man led the car to the swamp. Heading through the forest, they came to an open area where the ground was covered by concrete. There wasn't even a single drop of water in sight. All the water of the swamp had been replaced by concrete. That was what Onigafuchi Swamp looked like now. There isn't even a single drop of water, let alone a swamp. I was told that they sealed the swamp right after the disaster. This place was already encased in concrete by the time I arrived here for my mission. Let's go down there and take a closer look. Akasaka got out of the car and walked to the center of the concrete-filled swamp. It wasn't a parking lot or a heliport. It was just a huge empty concrete space right in the middle of the forest. So, this is the place people say was a landing spot for UFOs? Really? I've never heard of that. Well, that's what they write on occult websites. They say that this is the place where our government met with aliens. I can't blame them for such rumors, though, because an empty concrete space in the middle of the forest sure does look weird. Language my mother doesn't let me say that word. What? She won't let you say But that's okay, Keeve. I just say Volcanic gas erupted from the swamp in June 1983. The deadly mixture of hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide engulfed and destroyed Hinamizawa in a single night. The village was sealed off and the SDF covered the swamp with concrete. But the people who write these rumors on the internet actually have a point. Any geologist could tell you that covering a source of volcanic gas with the concrete is absolutely useless. That's true. I've never heard of anyone trying to prevent a volcano from erupting by pouring concrete into its crater. On the other hand, our country is known for wasteful construction using the taxpayers' money. Lately, people who love things like supernatural phenomena and UFOs write on the internet about the Great Hinamizawa disaster. It's well known by now that the cause of the disaster was an eruption of deadly volcanic gas from a magma chamber. In 1986, a similar natural disaster occurred at Lake Nyos in Cameroon, Africa, so people easily believed that such a rare natural disaster would occur anywhere on Earth, and that was what happened in Hinamizawa as well. However, a rumor about another possible explanation had begun to fly around the internet recently. They say the disaster was a cover-up by the government, and that it was actually a biochemical terrorist attack by aliens. Why had such a rumor begun to spread now? They claimed to back up their theory with the secret document known as File Number 34. Someone online named it File Number 34 for descriptive purposes, but the name spread and stuck since then because it sounded like a government conspiracy. People loved it. It's unknown how or from where they obtained the documents, but they posted scans and pictures, which are all ridiculous. Plus, more fake evidence was produced over time, so now even the existence of such documents are in doubt. File number 34 deserves a bit more explanation. However, since it started on the internet, truths and lies were all mixed together, and it has become more like an urban legend, so this is what is believed to be mostly true. File number 34 was a notebook written by a nurse named Mio Takano who worked at a local clinic in Hinamizawa. File number 34 was most likely named after her. This woman was a researcher who studied the demon myth of Hinamizawa and tried to solve what it meant. The contents of this notebook state that she prophesied the Great Hinamizawa disaster of 1983. According to her research, a UFO crash landed in Hinamizawa a long time ago and snuck into the Onagafuchi swamp. I swear this is the only chapter that actually talks about aliens, but I could be wrong. The UFO carried parasitic bacteria from space, and they began to infect the locals. The infected villagers began to behave extremely violent, so much so that they were fit for the word demon. Mio Takano insisted that this was the explanation for the myth about the demons pouring out of the swamp. An alien who survived the car crash realized that the Earthlings had gone crazy because of the bacteria he brought in, and he decided to show himself to the villagers to help them out. This is how Yashido-sama was born. The alien was able to cure the villagers with highly advanced technology, but couldn't eradicate the bacteria completely. Since the villagers looked up to the alien as some sort of deity, the alien utilized its status to hand down specific rules to the villagers in order to stabilize the disease. The bacteria took a liking to Hinamizawa's habitat, so when a carrier of the disease left Hinamizawa, their symptoms would re-emerge. Therefore, the alien made it a rule not to leave the village. This leads to a legend of the transcendence of Onagafuchi. The weird practices and miracles that the villagers performed were realized by means of the advanced technology that were received from the alien. Those maniacs do indeed have a colorful perspective on things, don't they? Do you remember Nostradamus' prophecies? People said that the world was going to end in 1999, but nothing happened in July, and people acted like they didn't even know about it. Those TV shows made people are as scared as they could be, and then ignored the fact that it didn't happen. But Mio Takano did predict the Great Hinamizawa disaster. It's not a lie. Look at this page in the scrapbook. You must be joking. Akasaka-senpai, is this for real? As time passed, the bacteria stabilized in human bodies and became harmless. The alien and the bacteria began to fade away from people's minds. However, the alien has lived on for hundreds of years with the protection of 3 families. It still lives on as a spirit of a deity in the secret temple of the Furude Shrine. The alien manipulated the bacteria living inside the villagers and maintained control over them for hundreds of years. The alien wanted to regain its power and started researching how to bring back the lost powers of the bacteria, etc., etc. Things get much stranger from there. People say the disaster was actually part of the aliens' plan to conquer the entire Earth by spreading the reawakened bacteria. The Japanese government has a secret division that fights against alien invasions, and they trained at Area 51 in the US, etc., etc. And they moved in to stop the invasion by sealing off the entire village, and they killed all the residents by using toxic gas. Hey, there's a movie that just like that. Some black guy is the lead character. What was the title? Am I something? Yeah, I know. It's too crazy to be real. But the writer of this of this bunch of bull, Mio Takano, was mysteriously murdered in June 1983. Right before her death, she gave this scrapbook to a girl as if she knew she was going to die very soon. That girl is known as Girl A. Some guy who investigated the case was able to track it down to a girl named Reina Ryugu, so now it's known as the Reina Ryugu theory on the internet. Reina Ryugu inherited Mio Takano's will by means of the scrapbooks. She tried to fight against the planned invasion by holding a school hostage and demanding the local police uncover the aliens' plot. I underestimated how long this tip was gonna be. Of course, no one believed her and they assumed she was in a state of paranoia. Back then, people assumed that Reina Ryugu took Mio Takano's delusions seriously and was motivated to commit a poorly executed crime. When she held the school hostage, Reina Ryugu told local police that the alien was controlling the three families, and that it was plotting bioterrorism at a massive scale. And the very next day, the Great Hinamizawa disaster occurred. Oh gosh, it was the next day too. You've got to be kidding. Couldn't it have just been a coincidence? I don't know. According to people who believe it's not just a coincidence, there are many inconsistencies in the SDF's immediate sealing off operation. Filling the swamp with concrete is one example. Several of the SDF soldiers on duty at the time testified that some people were conducting secret investigations outside the unusual geological survey before the area was closed off. Of course, those who think it's just a coincidence say that the researchers simply took the precautionary measures to keep unauthorized people out of the area. I'd have to agree with the latter people. People also questioned why they sealed off the village for such a long time. After its volcanic gas eruption, Miyake Island was only sealed off for 4 to 5 years. What happened in Hinamizawa was an exceptionally rare natural disaster, yet it was sealed for over 20 years. I heard that the residents of Miyake Island returned to their home island faster than originally intended, because they had requested it so strongly. But in the case of Hinamizawa, there were no residents alive who wished to return in the first place. Perhaps the government took their time until they were absolutely certain it was safe. How about this one? The SDF members who were on the mission to seal off Hinamizawa had their blood samples taken periodically. Some of them were discharged from the mission without an explanation after the results came back. Some believe that they were using the members of the SDF as human test subjects to see if they got infected or not. I think they were just checking up on the members' health conditions, since they were in the area where the gas disaster occurred. Besides, normal businessmen also take annual physical checkups, and they have their blood samples taken there as well. Yeah, I understand your point too. But I have another interesting theory. There are some people who believe that there are no gas emitted during the so-called Great Hinamizawa disaster. No volcanic gas? What does that mean? Basically, what they're saying is that there was no volcanic gas, and it was sort of government cover-up. It's like the Spielberg movie. You know, the one where the humans make contact with UFOs. See, that's exactly how maniacs always explain things. What kind of basis do they have to say that there was no volcanic gas emission? Well, a bunch of these maniacs came to Hinamizawa as soon as the seal was lifted. According to them, the hydrogen sulfide in the volcanic gas should have caused some corrosion to metallic objects and major damage to the wildlife. However, they found no such signs of disruption, which led them to claim that there was no volcanic gas to begin with. But this village was abandoned for 20 years. I doubt that they could find anything anyway. Well, that's the thing of the internet. You can't believe everything you read on it. Hakasaka-senpai, please don't tell me you're buying these stories. At first I didn't, but lately I'm beginning to think that there might be some truth to them. You believe in UFOs? Oh, come on. Well, what if the scrapbook is the real file number 34? Huh? The scrapbook is the one that Reina Ryugu possessed when she took the school hostage on June 25th, 1983. I really didn't think this thing was going to be that long, please. I played myself. It was assumed to be lost during the confusion of the disaster, but Oishi-san's old friend was able to locate it as evidence storage at the prefectural police headquarters. Back then, Oishi thought Reina Ryugu was delusional, but after reading this again after the Great Hinamizawa disaster, some of the content seemed to hold vital clues. It's not the alien part that he was interested in, but her theory about the endemic disease of parasitic microbes in Hinamizawa was responsible for the curse of Yashido-sama. Of course, there was no proof that such microbes existed, so it still remains at a theoretical level. Oishi-san says that the three families might have been researching how to bring back the original deadlier microbe in order to revive the religious devotion the villagers used to have. The Great Hinamizawa disaster could be an experiment that went wrong. This theory is also based on theories and myths that he found on the internet. The village's clinic's chief director died mysteriously right before the Great Hinamizawa disaster. A girl, Rika Furude, was brutally murdered on the night Today Noburyugu took the school hostage. Man, not even a day. There could have been an underground research lab beneath the village clinic, and Dr. Iri could have been forced to do microbiological research, but he couldn't live with his own sins and committed suicide. Rika Furude could have been brutally murdered in a sacrifice of some sort of ritual ceremony in the name of Yashida-sama's revival. However, their experiment went wrong. Instead of the microbes being parasitic in the village, they became a killer virus, and they exterminated the entire village in one night. It's obvious that it wasn't a simple gas disaster. We cannot ignore the fact that one girl predicted a bioterrorist attack right before the disaster, and that several villagers died mysteriously, including Mio Takano herself, who wrote about it all in that scrapbook. It doesn't sound right to say that the Great Hinamizawa disaster was an unpredicted and coincidental natural disaster. When you read this file number 34, it's obvious. So you're saying that the Great Hinamizawa disaster wasn't a rare natural disaster, but that it was in fact an act of bioterrorism by some cultists? In the modern era, everyone in Japan knows about the shocking incident where a doomsday cult created a nerve gas, sarin, and released it for the purpose of mass murder. But in the 80s, the idea of a single cult being able to carry out such an act of terrorism didn't even cross our minds. Some also whispered that the SDF kept the area sealed for so long that they could study some lethal virus, but I'm not convinced. At least the story sounds more convincing than the one with aliens and UFOs. The idea of cultists and domestic terrorism sounds more rational. Maybe there really was a UFO that crash-landed. When Rei Noburyugu took the school hostage, one of her demands to the police was to have them pull one of the wreckage of the UFO from the Onigafuji swamp. That's ridiculous. Well, even if I wanted to make sure if it was ridiculous or not, look at it. The swamp is filled with concrete several meters thick, and there's no way we can check. This is all because of that ridiculous construction that doesn't even have anything to do with to prevent the volcanic gas. Well then, the only way to prove Akasaka-senpai's theory would be to find a survivor of Hinamizawa and try to find that microbe in him or her. Sadly, that's almost impossible. After the Great Hinamizawa disaster, some survivors were subject to a witch hunt, so even if there were any survivors, they won't tell you that they're from this area. Right after the disaster, some people who were from Hinamizawa started displaying erratic behavior. When they started dying mysteriously and committing suicide in strange ways, people got scared of them and chased them out of their neighborhoods. The government was practically useless in protecting their privacy at the time, so the former residents of Hinamizawa lied about where they were from and have kept it that way since. In that case, it's a dead end. But it's my duty as a cop to keep trying. There's enough circumstantial evidence to say that the Great Hinamizawa disaster wasn't a natural one. If I could grab a hold of one piece of concrete proof, I think I could start reeling in the truth behind all of this. Yeah, but it's been over 20 years. The truth might be lying somewhere very deep in the darkness. That's true. I might not find any answers. It's already the 21st century. What happened in Hinamizawa in June 1983? The only factual evidence was that I was with Mio Takano Give me a second. Okay, I'm good. The only factual evidence that I had was that Mio Takano mysteriously died and left her scrapbook predicting the bioterrorism attack. A young girl took a school hostage to make people listen to this prediction, but no one took it seriously. The chief doctor of the village clinic committed suicide. People believed that a little girl, Rika Furude, was a reincarnation of Oyashido-sama, and she was brutally murdered. Okay, I feel like this tea isn't helping. What was the truth behind the scrapbook? Was it written to reveal a huge conspiracy? Or was it just a bunch of delusions written by an occult maniac? If the contents of the scrapbook were true, the disaster could have been avoided if we heeded the warnings of one girl. If they weren't true, then who created the disaster to follow the scenario of the scrapbook? After the sudden nerve gas incident, the words mind control came into the spotlight. In contrast to brainwashing, which can easily force a person to commit certain acts in the short term, mind control takes a long time to gradually make a person believe that what he or she must do is the right thing, and to act upon it as if it was his or her own idea. It's a form of character alteration, which is far more serious than brainwashing. The cult behind the sodden gas incident induced fear and anxiety into its members through its revelations of doomsday. At the same time, they ordered them to do certain things as means of salvation, and had them do so voluntarily. The formula was quite similar to how Reina Ryugu became a puppet of file number 34. So, does that mean that Reina Ryugu was mind-controlled by someone? Does that mean that the cult had mind-controlled her, tried to cause the end of the world in order to increase the credibility of their teachings, just like the other cult did? Would that make file number 34 some sort of religious textbook for them? When I lose my grip on what's true and what's not, it sometimes makes me feel like someone might be laughing in an amusement at this disaster. The scrapbook was like a script. It was a script for a tragedy that takes the lives of thousands of villagers in one night. It was a script for demons who laugh at that loss of human life. Someone wrote the script. Someone performed it. Someone watched the show and laughed. Damn it. What the hell happened in Hinamizawa in June 1983? And then that sets the stage for the next chapter. Okay, there's nothing after this, right? Okay. Now, that tips was like half an hour long. Okay, so let's go over here, and then let's find somebody to raid. Let me see, who is streaming right now? Let's see, there's Lita. Ooh, there's Amma. What is she drawing right now? I want to see what she's drawing, and then we could probably raid her. I don't think you guys can hear the song. Yeah, I don't think I have it set up that you guys can hear, but let me see. Let me see. I have to wait past this ad break. It's just giving me a very long ad. Cause if we don't want to raid Amma, we can raid Lita. Let's see, what do you guys think? Let me see. Yeah, we'll raid Lita. Cause we don't raid Lita too often, so they are once again playing Phasmophobia. Let's see, let's do Alien Raid. And then little like questioning think. What? No, nobody, no! But thank you everybody for joining me today. Even though I was still kind of coughing. But yeah. Tomorrow, we are going to be playing a bunch of random itch.io games, which we're just going to leave it all up to RNG on what we're going to actually end up playing. But yeah, I need to figure out how I'm gonna do that, because some of the games are like probably like 5 minutes, and then some of the games are like actual like hours long. Like I think Celeste is in the list, as well as Night in the Woods, I think. So it's just like I need to figure out what to do if we roll like a huge thing or not. But we'll figure that out tomorrow. But anyways, I will see you guys noon tomorrow. That I feel better. Yeah, feel better, drink water, you cookie. Yes, that's what I will do. I will see you guys later. I'm trying not to cough.
I don't know where my automaton is. No!